Well, the Crimson Desert gameplay previews are here. We're going to be looking at them, coming over everybody that got to go to the preview event. Now, it's my understanding that these videos will be PC, but there was apparently a console version or footage or something sent to Digital Foundry. We are going to try to get to the bottom of it, because I have said since the beginning, my primary concern about this game has been that we have not seen any uncut console footage. Will Powers has been saying on Twitter that that is forthcoming. They are going to let people see console footage before the game comes out. Now, he also said in interviews up to this point that there was console footage available. You just had to go watch this trailer right here, this release date trailer that debuted during I think a state of play, and that this is PS5 Pro footage. This is very, very heavily edited. There's no uncut looks at the game. There's no raw looks at the game. This has been my continued concern about Crimson Desert, is that we are looking at something that is very much signaling those red flags. Now, the people that did play it on PC were hearing very, very positive things. It seems incredibly ambitious. This game is actually setting itself up to be what feels like a moment in open world action games. It's not actually an RPG, but it has a lot of things that are similar to those types of games, so they have gone on record as saying it's not really an RPG. So we are going to be combing over those previews today. I've continued to say my biggest concern is that this game fell victim to scope creep, and that there's just so much to do in the game. It might end up being a jack of all trades, master of none sort of a situation, or that also the graphical performance was incredibly ambitious from everything they've shown on PC. But we're hearing very, very good things, like apparently they've made some breakthroughs or something with their engine. So we will be checking those out, and we will be looking at those in a moment. The embargo literally dropped like 10 minutes ago. So if you guys have found any that you want to take a look at, throw them in the Discord. We will be taking a look at them. If you're watching this later, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. If you're here right now, hit the like button. We're also working on a goal on the channel for members. We're trying to get to 600 members, so consider clicking join and pick that $5 member tier. You get into the Discord, you get a badge, you get emotes, and it helps me do this full time, because we do so many live streams. That is essentially how I'm able to do these shows every single day with you. So we're not going to waste any more time. We are going to look for these now. I know, Jor Raptor was one of the people who said he was going to have footage hitting right away. So he says, I played, so he's got footage right here. I played 6 hours of the new version of Crimson Desert, the good and the bad. So this went live 10 minutes ago. I'm not going to watch the entire thing. I do not want to be a replacement for someone's footage. I will provide a link for you guys in the description below if you would like to go watch Jor Raptor's video later. What I'd like to do is figure out if he has this, does he have this broken into sections? Bounty system, stealing skill, okay, random events, crime, amazing rewards, secret. His biggest worry. I think I just kind of want to go there. I want to get some consensus from people who have played this game. So let's see what he's saying here is his biggest worry.
Not get in the way of this fun though. During early main missions, there are already puzzles that can be very hard to understand because they don't properly explain mechanics or rely on trial and error solutions. They also require you to use abilities that you might have forgotten about or never used in this instance, and that costs spirit, which slowly regenerates over time, so you cannot spam it to complete the puzzle. The game does have a very clever focus system that lets you target your jump or the item or NPC you want to interact with, but this did not always work either. That meant simple actions like picking up items or completing objectives became kind of frustrating. I think these issues can really stop Crimson Desert from becoming a game that will be loved by many. Right now it feels like something you have to accept in order to get to the good stuff. Because in these 6 hours I already encountered a ton of awesome stuff, and it feels like I barely scratched the surface of what the game has to offer. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. I will answer them in a Q&A video that
Okay, that doesn't actually sound that bad at all. Does he talk about performance though? Let's just see what he says in the opening.
I played 6 hours of a new version of Crimson Desert, and damn, there's so much new stuff I want to show you in this video. There's a bounty system where you can go after criminals and have to put them behind bars. There was this secret boss in the open world I got to fight that gave me a very unique item. Unarmed combat is actually really powerful and fun, and I was overall really impressed by the amount of depth in the skill system. And yes, it's no joke how big the map is. So no time to waste, and thanks to Abyss for inviting me to the event and sponsoring the video. My play session started from the beginning of the game. You are immediately taking control of Kliff as his band of grey mains is attacked by an enemy clan called the Black Bears. As always, I will not spoil any story details, but expect a pretty cinematic 15-minute opening with awesome cutscenes, after which you are immediately introduced to the Abyss. You could argue that the world of Crimson Desert has 2 layers, the regular combat-filled open world and these islands in the sky that are full of puzzles, but also seem to play a pretty important role in the story. It is kinda weird that Kliff does not seem too impressed by all these over-the-top magical things that are going on in this medieval world. He remains pretty numb through it all.
He didn't say, is this the same footage in all the other previews? Because I can't tell. Like, this almost looks like B-roll that they were given. Like, I'm actually kind of curious about that. Because it looks, obviously, it continues to look incredible. The reflections, the graphical fidelity, the world detail, the draw distance. I continue to look at this game and I am just blown away as what they're achieving. It's made it very difficult to think that people are gonna have the exact same experience on console. Okay, played for 6 hours.
The day has come. I play.
All right, hang on. So his is heavily edited. I'm just trying to get to the footage. Luke! We just want to see the footage, bro. Okay, I'm trying to see if he's got a lengthy section of footage because I wanted to see if it was uncut so that we could see, like, is he showing the exact same footage as Jor Raptor? Let's just keep watching Jor's.
I really hope his personality grows over the course of the game, because it almost feels like he was a silent protagonist at first, which might have been the case as the game of course started as an MMORPG. But I would overall argue that these MMO roots are also the game's biggest strength, because it basically feels like they put 6 different classes into one single character. The skill menu in this game might be the best I've ever seen, because almost every single unlock gives you a brand new ability or move that you can use through a special button combination. Next,
I like this. This looks really, really fun. This was the thing that intrigued me, that it wasn't going to be like a traditional RPG where you're like leveling up and getting XP. You're going and like getting abilities and learning abilities, and it felt like it's going to be more like an action focus within the actual gameplay. That I think is exciting. That sounds like something that I would enjoy, as opposed to like that traditional long tail. You're just kind of grinding to get to the next tier level, and you're slowly moving through a skill tree. I really, really like this. I hope that they've worked on. I don't remember who it was. Somebody talked about how it gets confusing because there's so many abilities and so many different things you can do. It actually can make you feel a little clumsy. I forget who said this. Somebody was saying they were hoping that they had worked on that. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. Schreier's piece about PlayStation exclusivity is out. I read it. Thank you for the $2 super chat. He didn't go into much more detail other than that we know Yote and Saros are not coming to PC. They've made the decision, and those were basically, they said no. They halted any work on that. So we'll see as the dust settles on that if people are going to, admit that it's official now. If he's saying he's spoken to the company, now the people at the company were saying like the plans could change. We'll talk about that more probably another day.
Next to your light and heavy attacks, you can combine R1 with any of the face buttons for a spin attack, for example. You can also do a stab that you can charge. Unarmed combat has its own skill that if you upgrade it, unlocks brand new combos and moves. So this on top of those other abilities that you can also use with your fist. This can fully be your playstyle if you want. Want to be an archer? Well, that seems certainly possible as well, as long as you have the arrows with really cool dodge attacks and other moves to push enemies away. I tried the drop kick, as there are certain moves that you can only do from the air, and everything I mentioned here is only from the blue section of the skill tree. There's also a more spirit focused green tree that, for example, has this interesting
I really like the fact that they're doing it this way. Like, it sounds like you're really going to be able to play in your own way. You're going to be able to have your own style. Guys, as you're tuning in on YouTube, make sure you're hitting that like button. Try to get us to 100 likes. As you're piling in, we're checking out Crimson Desert gameplay. The previews from the capture event are in, and we're going to be watching them. We're not going to be watching anybody's video in its entirety. I do not want to serve as a replacement to anybody's content, so I will be giving you guys links to these videos in the description below. And this is Jor Raptor's video. He played for 6 hours. I don't think we're going to get any console footage today. I believe we were told that there was both PCs and PlayStations at the event. We will see if anybody actually recorded. They're all stressing that they played for 6 hours. Luke Stevens and Jor Raptor both have that in the title of their video, that they played Crimson Desert for 6 hours.
Focus move that lets you slow time and then push enemies away. Then there is the elemental red tree, focused on your grapple hook and elemental enhancements. And the one element we did not know about yet, by the way, is called VOC, which lets you deploy basically smoke bombs with various skills. Oh,
I'm actually really curious. Is this his own footage? Because this is heavily edited, but he's editing it so he can show you all the different things. Like somebody in chat says it's heavily edited, but he's trying to show you all the various aspects of the skill tree. I can't tell if Jor recorded this himself or was he just provided with a bunch of footage. Has anybody indicated in any of their previews? This looks like what Dragon's Dogma should have been.
And those other two playable characters have a similarly sized skill tree that I sadly could not record, but that I did see. It's very impressive.
He just said that he could not record, but it's impressive. So that sounds to me like this is his footage. Okay, that's encouraging for PC users. That means they let these guys record and use that recorded footage. They were not provided with B-roll. Now, Digital Foundry was provided with B-roll because Alex Battaglia hurt his back and couldn't go. Yo, it's good, WTF Game Nation. Thank you guys so much for being here. I forgot to thank Donkey Sausage for his renewal over there on Purple. Thank you so much. Let's get it started, boys. We are well ahead. Not well ahead. We're a little ahead on pace here. We want to end the day at 300, and we're already above 200. Thank you so much, Donkey Sausage, for 37 months. And then a $2 super chat says, it's PS5 footage. Look at the buttons. It's not PS5 footage. It's just a controller plugged into a PC.
There's no XP you earn to gain a new level, but by simply taking the time to kill a group of enemies, I was always rewarded with one Abyss artifact that I could then immediately invest in almost any skills. But you can also learn skills by observing enemies. During an early boss fight, the knight did his signature pump kick, and if you stand still, you can immediately steal that move and use it against him. Some skills actually require you to
learning combat abilities as you're playing against different enemies. I think that's actually kind of cool. And the question will be, like, is that going to motivate you? Yeah, we just switched ingest servers. Sorry about that, YouTube. It should be fine now. That wasn't anything with my rig or anything. That was just us switching ingest servers. So if the audio messes up, you'll just have to refresh. So yeah, I think that's a really cool feature.
NPCs seem mostly linked to the main story. For most of the skills, it's optional, but it will save you an Abyss artifact. We have to wait and see how impactful that is though, because the Abyss artifacts seem pretty easy to come by. Now, one thing that is very lucrative early on is going after criminals. You will find notice boards and other places with wanted posters, and by inspecting them, a new quest will appear on your map.
This is, I think, a cool feature as well, that like the open world just going to kind of have things for you to kind of discover and do. If you guys are watching on YouTube, that blip is going to hurt us. That's terrible to happen in the first 15 minutes. So help me out and hit the like button a bunch. Check your renewals. If you're going to do any gifteds or anything, do that now. We're going to need to bounce back from that.
Leading you towards
the Grandma's target. Definitely evil.
When they see you, they might run away, so then you have to tackle them and tie them up and then bring them back to the prison to put them behind bars. I was once minding my own business when someone stole money from me and quickly ran away. Now luckily I could tackle him and bring him to justice. But overall this was a really fun random event, and I hope there are more like that, because otherwise the world seems pretty static. Most NPCs are just standing around in one location, and even during the night there were still kids on the street. If you were like hoping for a living, breathing world, I sadly did not really get that feeling from these opening hours. Again, it really reminds me of an MMORPG. There are still quite a few characters asking.
I actually don't think that that's big. That is that big of a deal. I can get why people might not like that, but if the world is very, very big, and you're going into towns, and the NPCs are functioning more like an MMORPG, and they're not like doing much, interacting much, I think that's totally fine. Like, I don't necessarily expect to be able to engage with like every single person or have like deep lore with every single person that you talk to. Like, I know like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was at some level unmatched in that level of depth and breadth, but I don't expect that in every game that I play, especially not this that is focusing more on being like an open world action game.
For your attention or letting you do small mini games with them, which were...
All right, let's see if Luke says anything about performance. Does he speak about console or performance on PC? Because I feel like he had a video where he specifically spoke to that. Okay, PC performance. He states his experience with the game's optimization on PC was damn near flawless. Okay, so he had a great experience. Okay, console performance. While he only played on PC, he expresses excitement about how the game will run on consoles, expecting it to be impressive. Let's go to where he talks about that.
Run even on console, because I think it's going to be impressive. There's a reason they're telling people that they're going to be able to run this on MacBooks. Like, literally, this is launching on the Mac App Store. It's crazy, but that's how optimized they're building this out. So it actually seems like optimization wise, they've done it. As for bug fixing, which is a separate...
My only issue with that is, and this has nothing to do with Luke, he's just the messenger, so I have no issue with what he just said, but my irritation with this is that if it's that well optimized and you're shipping it on such weak hardware and it's going to run fine on console, why is it taking so long for us to see console footage that has been uncut, right? Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. I hear where he's coming from. If that's what they're telling him and that's how they're positioning it, he's just the messenger. So I have no issue with Luke. I have an issue with them saying that, and yet we're still sitting here waiting for console footage. It's like, where is it? Why can't we see just some PS5 or Xbox footage? Now, Will Powers said on Twitter that footage is forthcoming. They're going to let us see it. And I'm like, okay.
Subset of performance, that's one I am more worried about, to be perfectly honest, because I did run into bugs personally. While I didn't have performance issues, I did run into bugs with puzzles and stuff, which can be frustrating, especially when you're doing a puzzle and you're like, I feel like I'm doing it right. I must be stupid. There must be something I'm missing, only to realize that it's a bug. And you did solve.
It sounded like Jor Raptor had issues with the puzzles as well. Lono, these guys mastered flip fluids, bow to their greatness. I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
Of it correctly, it's just not working. It is in the end game, to be fair, and as I mentioned earlier, Baldur's Gate 3, one of the best games ever made. Its Act 3 was totally freaking busted, and so it wouldn't surprise me if maybe this is something they continue to work on after launch, and it just gets better and better and better.
Yeah, I mean, they could be late stage activities or something that require more polish. Now, somebody said something here about Digital Foundry and console. Where is it? In Cowboy's video, he mentions that Pearl Abyss wanted Digital Foundry to put out the console analysis because no one will believe it from Pearl Abyss. Really? So, okay, if that's true and they actually have this thing that well optimized, these guys are going to be doing interviews for the rest of the year. They won't have a free moment. Everybody's going to want to know how they pulled that off. If it runs that well, if it runs so well, can somebody get me a link to Fighting Cowboy's video? I want to hear this section of the video. I want to hear it from the man himself. You have this thing that... Let me see if I can find it. Hang on. Flip Fluids is one of the holy grails of 3D. They're not playing around. Okay, so we've got a skill up video as well. And then let's find Fighting Cowboy. Let's see here. There he is. Fighting Cowboy. I want to hear this straight from him. Okay. Where does he mention console? I want to hear him say it.
That I did ask about console performance, since all the footage, including my own, up till now has been PC. And the answer I got from them was actually pretty respectable. They said that regardless of what we say, people probably won't believe us. So instead, we are sending the game to Digital Foundry, and they'll have a full analysis of performance across all the platforms at launch. So if you're curious about performance, definitely keep your eye out for that.
Okay. That is a pretty bold statement that, like, it's going to be so impressive on console that people won't believe us. So we're going to have Digital Foundry do the analysis of every platform at launch. So I'm curious about something. Is the embargo on Digital Foundry's video at launch, or are they going to be able to push those videos out the day before? Now, the timing isn't great. It's not very good. It's like 5 o'clock Eastern the day before the game comes out. Now, that could be because of the region of the world that Pearl Abyss is from, so it may not, actually hit before that, right? Shout out to Alex in the chat. Which Alex is in the chat? Is Alex Battaglia here? Or are you talking to somebody that you know? 9 years ago in Cowboys video, he mentions that. Oh, are you shouting out Alex because he's the one that told us about this? Is that why? Let me see here. Graphics and performance. Let's see what Fighting Cowboy says about how it runs on PC.
So moving on and talking a little bit about the graphics and the performance. I think it's no surprise the graphics for this game are just absolutely insane. I think probably one of the biggest things that stood out to me, though, was in the night sections. The way lighting works in this game is pretty insane. Like, the lantern is your best friend. Shadows are cast super far.
That does look incredible.
In the dark. Like, to the point where I'm like, I almost hope there's like some upgrades, because there was a section where I was wandering out at night, and, like, I could barely tell where I was going. I was just like, bro, I'm stumbling through the dark. I'm lost. I don't know what to do. In terms of performance, we were playing on some AMD setups. I'm not sure exactly what card, but the game was running smooth like butter. And they had it running in ultra wide. I had a lot of people ask that I did ask about console performance, since all the footage, including my own, up till now has been PC. And the answer I got from them was actually pretty respectable. They said that regardless of what we say, people probably won't believe us. So instead, we are sending the...
All right, let's see what he says about
And
combat.
the first thing I want to talk about is just the raw combat gameplay, because we've seen a lot of it. I've had a lot of people asking about the controls and, whether it's easy to do or hard to do or what the case is. So let's discuss. So at a basic level, the combat's actually pretty simple. We have like a light attack, we have a heavy attack, we have a block and a parry, and then we have a dodge. But I can hold down the heavy attack to like empower it, and that's going to pull from a magic resource. I can hit light and heavy together, which will also do like a special of sorts. There's a bunch of other abilities, though, outside of just the basics there that you can unlock. So like hitting A and X, for example, I'm able to clothesline an enemy.
This sounds insane, dude. It literally does sound like why the one person said after playing it that they thought the controls and all the stuff they could do in combat made them... All right, we're back on YouTube. I don't know why we keep switching ingest servers. They do this from time to time, and then I switch to the backup ingest servers. I really, really am sorry, guys. I have no control over it. I haven't had a single hitch today on Twitch, so it's 100% a YouTube thing. Please go crazy on the like button and get us to 200 likes. Renew your memberships, do something. That really, really hurts us when that happens. I apologize. I have no control over it. So what was I saying? Oh, yes. It wouldn't surprise me, we're hearing from people that if it happens again, guys, I'll switch ingest servers. I'll switch to the backup ingest servers. It would not surprise me if this is something you're really going to have to kind of go through a bit of a learning curve. Like, you're going to have to really, really master your particular play style. Like, you're going to have to memorize all of the different things that you've unlocked, that you've set up, what have you. Now, I wanted to respond to something in chat that Final Pineapple said. before YouTube so rudely interrupted us, okay? He said, not going to lie, the excuse of, well, no matter what we say, no one will believe us is suspicious in itself. Like, dude, just tell us the truth. Here's the thing. I'm actually willing to accept that answer, and let me explain to you why I'm willing to accept that answer. At this point, I wouldn't believe anything that they showed us on console. I wouldn't. I would just assume that we were looking at a vertical slice and they were playing games. Like, juicing up the footage, making everything look incredible, making it seem like it's too good to be true. I wouldn't. At this point, I would not believe it because it's taken them way too long to show us console. The game looks incredibly ambitious. It looks too good to be true. How many thumbnails for this game have you seen on YouTube saying, is this too good to be true? Is this too good to be true? Listen, when everybody's saying that, I definitely would have been hyper skeptical. I told you guys this the other day. I said, until I've got thumbs on sticks, I don't believe anything that I see. I said that. It's taken way too long. So I actually accept their answer. And then the proof better be in the pudding then, because when Digital Foundry puts out their video, I'm going to be watching it thinking, okay, how does this run on console? Yo, 80JC with 54 months. Let me add you to the total. Starting off the day here with 1 for Twitch and 1 for YouTube. Trying to get to that number by the end of the week, boys. So here's the thing. I accept their answer. So I'm going to watch that Digital Foundry video. I hope Digital Foundry can have total analysis of all the platforms. PS5, Series X, Series S, PS5 Pro. I hope they can have a good breakdown of all those systems before launch, so that you guys and myself, we can all make educated decisions before it comes out. Because that has been the number one thing I've been suspicious about since the very beginning is this game going to run like hot garbage on console? Because it just seems so big and so ambitious. Let's keep listening to Fighting Cowboy talk about the combat.
If I'm sprinting at them, or if I came up from behind, it did a freaking RKO. I'd jump up, grab them by their head, and shoulder drop them onto the ground. If I was hitting Y and B, I was picking up enemies and throwing them. And not just like a little hip toss. We're talking like throwing them through windows, throwing them through fences, like exaggerated anime throws, just shucking people. On top of that, there's a bunch of skills that I saw in the trailer that I couldn't even figure out how to execute. Like, I know we have this force push type mechanic, and I saw characters in one of the preview things that we were watching. He like did a triple force push up into the air and then a flying meteor kick down to the ground. It staggered a bunch of enemies, and it's absolutely insane. So at a basic level, the combat is simple, and I feel like by the time...
I actually kind of agree with what you're saying, though, Broken Surprise. If it's so good and no one will believe you and Digital Foundry has to prove it, then why are we waiting until launch for that info? Right, like he's getting exasperated on Twitter and he's saying, like, I'm sick of having to repeat myself. He says that Crimson Desert isn't hiding console footage ahead of its imminent launch, right? He's been like, we're going to have the footage, and it's like, okay, but you have to understand where everybody's coming from, right? The game went gold. You guys uploaded 30 minutes of footage to the PlayStation YouTube channel, and it was all on PC. I think everybody's skeptical is totally warranted. Like, if you're frustrated by that, then take it up with the marketing team at Pearl Abyss. They're the ones that sent over 30 minutes of footage to a PlayStation YouTube channel, and it was all on PC. Our skepticism is warranted. Our inquiries are warranted. Our request for gameplay footage on console is not some nuisance or some inconvenience to you. It is completely justified. If you want people to give you $70 for this on console, then show us a dadgum game on console. It's that simple. And if the whole time you were thinking, nobody's going to believe us, what we pulled off on console is beyond what people are willing to accept just by looking at it, they're going to think that we're faking them out. We want Digital Foundry to show it off. Why haven't you done that already? That's another question that I have. Why haven't you done that already? If you've got the game gold and it's playable right now on console, put the game in their hands so that they can put that footage together for you. The fact that we have to wait all the way until the launch of the game to finally see it on console, not from you, but from Digital Foundry, I think that still warrants some level of skepticism to be like, that just seems incredibly weird, man. Like, why wouldn't you let us see it well ahead of time? You want people to pre-order. All your trailers end with pre-order bonuses. If you want someone to swipe their credit card, you should respect them enough to give them the footage of the platform that they're pre-ordering the dadgum game on. And if they have an embargo on their console footage that you've sent them, I would really, really hope that that embargo is well enough ahead of launch so that people can make an educated decision, and it's not like after the fact or... I mean, because again, Cowboy said at launch. Again, I don't know what at launch means. Does that mean Digital Foundry can publish the videos at launch, or can they publish them the day before like everybody else? Or is it going to be treated differently? Is it under, a separate NDA? Now, SkillUp is saying it remains extremely promising, but he says the opening hours are a little rough. So let's see what he has to say here.
Okay, Crimson Desert, here we go. So the hype for this game is absolutely insane, and I think that might come as a surprise to at least a few of you. Like, if you're already dialed into this thing, you'd know that hype is out there, but if you're not, you might be like, wait, this is the first time I'm hearing about this game. And I think there are some reasons that this is sitting in a few people's blind spots. Number one, it comes from Pearl Abyss, who are a Korean studio that have never made a game intended for a Western console audience. Their main thing before this was Black Desert Online, the archetypical Korean MMO with all the visual style and grind that comes with that. Secondly, this game doesn't neatly fit into any typical genre bucket, and
Yo, Superfly using their Prime sub over there on Purple. Thank you so much. YouTube, hit that $, see if you have a renewal. Check that. There's a Sony blog in the Discord. Okay, so what's Sony saying? Okay, more hands-on details. Okay, so this just looks like an advertisement. Immortal RPG, helping, quests, one of the cooler, clearing, fast fluid combat, you can block, fighting, final battle, strange mystical world, okay, freedom to explore, okay. Like I said, this is just reading like a commercial. Okay. With an enormous, gorgeous open world, Crimson Desert can be pretty graphically demanding, and Pearl Abyss will leverage the PlayStation 5 and the PS5 Pro to help deliver some impressive visuals, particularly at long distances. This was the thing that's always blown me away, is the detail of lighting and shadows and texture at distance. It seems absurd. The PS5's SSD is key for streaming the huge world. For a start, and developers make heavy use of the PS5 Pro's high CPU frequency mode to make viewing and moving through the world as seamless as possible. They also told me okay, so you didn't play this on the PS5. You've been told these things. Let's just be clear, okay? They also told me that Crimson Desert for PS5 through a number of features to help maintain. They optimized it. All the detail at large scale, making use of geometry shader, oversubscription, and NGG culling to render lots of elements without losing detail. On the Pro, the recent upgrade to PSSR makes it possible for Crimson Desert to hit 4K resolutions at higher frame rates, and its ray tracing capabilities make lighting effects more realistic and natural. Now, some of you guys speculated that PSSR update might be included here. It sounds like it potentially is. And thank you so much, DK Bager, for the first gifted member of the day. Han shot first, and so did you. Thank you so much. Again, this is all being, spoken to, right? PSSR 2 is locked behind a paywall, only available to customers who bought Resident Evil. Do you honestly think that what you just typed is accurate? It's being rolled out regionally, brother, like Jiminy Christmas. Why are you typing things like that? The DualSense controller adds a lot of experience. Okay, I don't care about this. Like, again, let me scroll back up to the top. Not just this. Okay, I recently went hands-on and played for 4 hours, and while I never made it out of the landmarks I could see in the distance, even the area around the city and the games began to felt enormous for life. Okay, so it doesn't sound like they played it on PlayStation. It sounds like they went to the exact same event and they played it on the PC like everybody else, okay? So, again, if they're telling you they did these things, that's fantastic. You're PlayStation. Why are you not going hands-on with the game on PlayStation at this point? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Let's listen to more Skill Up talking about how, like, he thinks it's promising, but obviously he had some issues.
So I'm sure that more than a few people looked at it and thought, I don't know what the fuck that is, I guess it's not for me. But whether you're...
Okay, sorry, the old Aussies in coming out. This is not going to be safe for work. Sorry about that, boys. I didn't think a preview event would have an F-bomb, but, you know, he's from Australia. He can't really be blamed. That's just kind of part of their national heritage.
Already on the hype train, or you're just seeing this game for the very first time, there's probably one question that's dominating your thoughts. Is this game real? Can you really fly a dragon and a mech? Can a game really be this big and look this good? Sure, the combat looks flashy, but does it actually play well? Is this Zelda Sky Isle stuff that they got going on here just a lazy copy and paste of a world design element, or does it actually fit here, and is it additive to the experience in some way? And look, presupposing that this game is real, the more important question naturally follows, is it good, or is it simply too good to be true? Well, I played roughly 6 hours of this game recently at an event hosted by Pearl Abyss, and I can tell you that after that length of time playing the game, I'm definitely able to answer one of those questions, but I'm not quite yet ready to answer the second. I can tell you that this game is definitely real. 100%. You see these visuals? This is running at 1440p max settings on an AMD RX 9070, and it's running super smooth, like absolutely incredible, and it's delivering some truly absurd draw distances and lighting and weather effects. Technically, this is the sort of game where I wouldn't believe it until I'd actually played it for myself, and now that I've actually played it, I still can barely believe it, but it's real, it definitely is. From a gameplay perspective, everything you've seen is 100% real as well. The combat has a lot of input depth that essentially makes it an open world character action game. There really is a summonable dragon to fly and a mech to drive, and I can confirm that because I flew it and I drove it. There really is a physics-based approach to puzzle solving that asks you to move and break things to creatively solve puzzles. There really is a massive world made up of 5 distinct biomes, each of them with their own part to play in your grand adventure. The list goes on and on. Nothing that Pearl Abyss has shown you in their cinematic or gameplay trailers has been faked. In fact, I'd say they've been holding back, and the real game has even more surprises in store. So as for that second question, is it good? Why can't I answer that after 6 hours of playtime? Surely that's enough time to get some sense, right? Well, here's the thing. The preview was broken up into 2 blocks. About 4 hours spent with the game's introduction, and then 2 hours spent with...
This guy in chat says there's 5 months ago PS5 footage. No, there is not. There is a release date trailer that's 1 minute and 40-something seconds long, and there's no uncut gameplay footage in that trailer. It was quote-unquote captured on a PS5 Pro, and they never once give us a raw, uncut look at the gameplay. Homie, I've been covering this game for a long time. I know where there is and is not footage, so stow it.
The game's endgame state, where I had a fully leveled up character, and I could go anywhere, do anything, fight some endgame bosses, etc. That second half showed me the potential of this game. The boss encounters were fantastic, and the freedom to go anywhere was liberating when the moment-to-moment combat of a fully upgraded, fully geared character was exhilarating. I got to experience the unlock sandbox in a game that is very sandbox-driven, and it was great, and it made me really excited for Crimson Desert. And I desperately needed that injection of excitement because the first couple of hours that I played with this game weren't great. They just weren't, but you've got to understand why. Crimson Desert is one of the most systems-heavy action games I've ever played, with possibly the most complex control scheme I've ever experienced in an action game that naturally creates a gigantic learning curve as you are constantly being introduced to new systems and new abilities and new control scheme elements for 4 hours straight. It's impossible to hold it all in your head, and so that creates a lot of frustration early on.
Yeah, see, this is what somebody else said. So SkillUp is echoing something that other people, I've heard other people say this, right? That there's so much going on that you end up feeling a little clumsy and you end up feeling a little bit awkward. Like the controls end up feeling not great. I believe that it was Maximilian dude who said he was hoping they had worked on some of that. Like there were elements to it that like he wasn't super thrilled with. Looks like Wolfheart is excited, confused, and concerned. So his initial impressions. We'll check out Wolfheart
and I think
here
several others
in a second. We'll see what he has to say. Let's keep listening to SkillUp. I know people are having a go at SkillUp for his marathon video. I swear, if you guys make me defend that video, people are completely missing the forest for the trees. There's literally a screenshot that somebody posted where he says there's not bosses in the game, and they posted a screenshot proving him wrong, and I can't tell what I'm looking at proving his point. That game doesn't do a good job of... The game doesn't do a good job, okay? It doesn't. of explaining things and making things clear. So if he misunderstood things, we're back to this whole like, oh, you got to study and research. It's an IQ test. So anyways, I feel like what he's saying here about Crimson Desert is something I've heard from other people.
But coupled with that is the fact that many of the things that the game wants you to do in that opening window are really poorly explained, either because they expect you to remember everything you've already been told, when that's basically impossible, or because the objectives themselves are just unclear. I'll put it this way. I did this preview with a number of other media and content creators, and there were Pearl Abyss staff hovering around us to help us out when we got stuck. They constantly had to stand over people's shoulders pointing out the solutions to problems so that we could keep progressing. And I was watching people around the room getting stuck on the exact same shit that I was getting stuck on because, like I said, it just was poorly explained. So that's painful, sure, but this game is so ambitious with everything.
Okay, so I'm going to diagnose what happened there, okay? This comes down to when you go this broad. Remember we said we were concerned it would be a master of none. It would be a jack of all trades, master of none. You've got physics puzzles. You've got insanely deep combat. You've got open world. You've got bounties. You've got fishing. You've got farming. You've got pigs that you can carry around, right? When you do that, okay, the scope can get beyond your own reach, and it's difficult to onboard somebody into a game like that. It's almost like onboarding somebody into something that requires expertise. Think about right now what you do in your line of work. If I went to a car mechanic right now and I was like, explain to me how to repair a carburetor, he would have to do so much before he even gets to that point. Why? Because of the breadth of his knowledge and his expertise. He couldn't just be like, oh, pop the hood and do this, okay? I think a game like this is going to run into a similar difficulty where it's so big, so grand, so broad, it's difficult to onboard somebody into it because the breadth of what they're telling you, there's just so much going on. And as SkillUp is saying, as Ralph is indicating, like, you've got to remember all of this stuff as you're playing later, or you're going to be like, wait, what am I supposed to be doing? And he's saying, listen, I was at a capture event and everybody was getting stuck at the same spots. That's good feedback to Pearl Abyss. Maybe they can soften some of those edges and fix some of the onboarding. They don't have a ton of time before launch, but it is interesting that he's now the second or third person I've heard say this about the game, that it can be a little confusing and a little overwhelming, and you honestly feel a little bit clumsy. And this is something Jor Raptor echoed as well about the puzzles in his video.
That it's aiming for, I think it would be really unfair to judge it on the basis of a poor onboarding experience. The voice acting is superb. The visuals are absurd. The scope is gigantic. The combat is rich. The breadth of the gameplay on offer, from puzzle solving to exploration to crafting, is vast. There's just so much here. And above all else, I hope you take this away from my preview. I actually have a gut feeling that this is going to be pretty great. Weird and janky and uneven, but ultimately great, as I kept seeing flashes of brilliance as I was playing, and I kept dreaming of the moment when the tutorializing would end and the control scheme would be firmly committed to muscle memory, and at that point I could just begin truly experiencing what Crimson Desert has to offer.
The interesting thing is, too, is I think the difference between this game and when we talked about the onboarding in Marathon, I feel like people will put up with this onboarding because they see the game and they want to do it. They want to go into the world. They want to go and explore. They want to go get cool abilities. I feel like players will put up with a rough onboarding in this more than they will in a game like Marathon. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like people are going to be less patient with bad onboarding in a game like Marathon because it's a live service game. The scope of Marathon is certainly not to the degree of the scope that we're seeing here, right? No, we have no console footage yet. We are being told by Fighting Cowboy in his video that he inquired about console footage, and he was told nobody would believe us, so we're going to let Digital Foundry have that video. Digital Foundry will have videos with all the console footage. We don't know when, though. It said, Fighting Cowboy said at launch. That's rather generic. That could mean anything. That could mean that it's going to be available at the embargo review time period as everybody else, or it could be a day later. Maybe they have to wait until launch. I don't know. If Digital Foundry has a different embargo for console footage than PC footage, I would say that's concerning. So I may take to Twitter to ask. I'll just at Digital Foundry, John Linneman. I could DM John Linneman. I'll even at Will Powers and be like, hey, we're hearing Digital Foundry is going to have footage, where for console, when are we going to be able to see that? What world can you compare this to Marathon? I didn't compare it to Marathon. You're once again, that dumbfounded me. It's not surprising. You did this yesterday. You seemingly are easily dumbfounded. That sounds like a user skill issue problem, bud. Listen to me. I was talking about why somebody would be willing to put up with bad onboarding. We just talked about bad onboarding in Marathon and why I said that people would quit very quickly. I think people will put up with bad onboarding in this game because of what it's offering. It's offering something far bigger and broader and more deeply. What I'm saying is the importance of onboarding is at a higher degree of importance for a live service game versus some big expansive open world. So I'm not defending bad onboarding. I'm saying I actually think people will put up with the bad onboarding in this because of what the game's offering. Does that make sense? Jiminy Christmas. It's like you're willfully ignorant every minute of the day. How do you tie your shoes?
I wasn't able to get to that point during this preview, but I don't think that's a cause for concern in the sense that some games just take a while to warm up. This is definitely one of them, and despite its very slow and sometimes painful start, I walked out of this preview extremely excited to play more and ultimately optimistic.
I also think people are more willing to accept it in a game like this because they expect a game like this to be a slow start and a slow burn. They don't expect this game to hand you the best stuff right away and for you to be awesome right away. Does that make sense? Like, people expect a game like this to be a slow ramp up. They don't expect it to be fast. So I think people will be more accepting of like a clunky, slow, or somewhat awkward onboarding experience in this game. So I don't want to eat up too much more of SkillUp's video. That's only 5 minutes. I do not want to serve as a replacement to any of these fine gentlemen. I respect their work and like their work. I'll have links below. Let's see what Wolfheart says, because Wolfheart is saying that he's excited, confused, and concerned. Let's see if we can summary of thoughts. All right, let's go to performance and bugs and see what he says.
Performance-wise, just go watch the Digital Foundry video. They did a deep dive on PC performance, and everything came back good. I believe pretty much all of it. So I think thumbs up in that category. For us at the event, it was also a thumbs up, playing the game on Ultra with ray tracing. I don't know of anyone that had any performance problems. As far as console players go, no idea. But Prilibus has said that they're going to release things before the game comes out. That's the plan. And I think they may even have said that they're going to try to give it to another YouTube channel that can do a deep dive on the console metrics. So if you're a console player...
No console footage yet, boys. I know everybody's coming in looking for console footage. It's why I put it in the title. You're just as curious as I am. Fighting Cowboy inquired. He was told nobody would believe the console footage. So they're going to give console to Digital Foundry. That's what he was told. That's what's happening.
You should be, a little bit worried or concerned because you never know with console, especially an Xbox Series S. You're going to have to wait a little bit longer. As far as bugs go, I did experience a couple that caused me to reload, but I was, playing on an earlier version than even the review code version. And a couple other players told me they didn't experience those bugs. So I think it's going to be okay, but I don't know after 5 hours for such a massive game. I'm sure there's going to be bugs, but hopefully they're not too bad. It wasn't a major area of concern for me in my time playing. Let's go ahead and try to summarize everything here. I would say initial impressions wise, Crimson Desert was exciting, confusing, and concerning to me. But overall, after 5 to 6 hours, I am still interested in experiencing more, and I will be...
Yeah, now to be clear, the Digital Foundry video that's available, they didn't capture the footage. It was sent to them, but that's because Alex Battaglia had injured his back and was not able to travel. So everybody else that went was able to record their own footage. So I don't necessarily have concerns about the PC footage that we've been seeing. I believe this game will run well on a good system. If you've got a good system, a good to great system, I think this game will run well. Now, according to Luke Stevens, this game has been incredibly optimized. It's going to run great on a console and a MacBook, right? Now, he didn't say that or promise that. He's extrapolating that from the fact that they have heavily focused on optimization, and that they're even shipping it on a MacBook and shipping it on console. Like that was Luke Stevens' logic, okay? I think his logic tracks, so I'm not going to hold him accountable if like the game doesn't run well on those systems. He's taking their word for it. He's also looking at where the game is landing, and he's coming to conclusions. I think those are fair things to do. We will see if those predictions and conclusions end up coming true or not.
Playing more, I actually got a review copy of the game. Bravo to Pearl Abyss for sending those out before listening to people's hands-on impressions. I think that's awesome that they did that. But that is some sort of thumbs up from me, the fact that I'm interested in playing again. I'm excited to jump back in, but man, this game just has so much to explore and learn, and it's so hard to give like a solid initial impressions, and I think you guys should take all of these with a grain of salt, as many of our opinions might drastically change from our initial impressions to an actual review. The combat skills and progression systems associated with that, the excitement of coming across some of the challenging bosses that I got to see a few others encounter, the puzzles, the way that many of your character's skills and movement techniques can be useful in a variety of different situations, from puzzles to land navigation to combat, and that vast, beautiful open world, the setting, at least visually speaking, are all things that were really appealing to me as of right now. I would say in some ways I enjoyed the challenge of the controls and the mobility techniques. It forces you to be a little bit more engaged with the moment-to-moment gameplay. You're thinking, you're really trying to learn how to control your character, but I do think that's going to be a great topic of debate. I appreciate that there's a lot to learn and master, but at the same time, I do wonder how many players will just see these controls as clunky or overly complex and too frustrating. Things I'm unsure of the game's.
Yeah, I think it is going to be an interesting experiment of like, it's an open world action game, like it's not an RPG, and yet it sounds like there's going to be some steep learning. Like that does seem a little bit, I wouldn't say that's out of step, but when I play an open world action game, I'm not necessarily expecting to have that level of depth where like I'm learning rather clumsily how to do everything. Thank you, Sven, for renewing your membership and getting us to 220. We're exactly 5 members away from 225. And remember, when you guys get 100 on the day for your platform, I will drop a 5-bomb on your platform as a special bonus. So continue to make sure you're checking your renewals or do your gifting to help us with that weekly goal. So, yeah, I do think that is a little bit internally dissonant and juxtaposed. And Wired Rope with the first 5-bomb of the day over there on Purple secures the first milestone for Twitch. I owe Twitch now 2, I think. I owed you guys 1 yesterday, and now I owe you 2. YouTube, I still owe you 2. And then there's going to be an Agents of Chaos coming in, 226. Thank you so much, ADR Zone, for 12 months. God bless you, too, as well. I appreciate you, dude. Well, here, yeah, and again, so back to what I was saying. I do feel like there is a bit of a juxtaposition there. It's like that is a little bit of an internal dissonance to have an open world action game. It's not an RPG, but there is a steep learning curve. Now, that may be fine if people feel like that is, approachable and the depth is rewarding. But it's not going to be fine if people feel like, man, I can't get into a groove. I can't get into a flow state. I'm getting frustrated. So it'll be interesting to see what those initial impressions are. If people, it sounds like to me, if people can get over those early, nagging issues, those early rough edges, it sounds like they will be able to enjoy the game for a significant amount of time. It seems like the game is rather large and big. And so I think if you can get past that, I think it's going to be good. The only issue I would say is are people going to get super frustrated in those early hours and feel like, I thought this was an action game. It's not an RPG. Why is it so complicated and so frustrating? That might create an internal dissonance in the game that frustrates users to put it down.
It's difficulty balance as of right now. I'm unsure of how interesting the vast amount of systems that I encountered will be in the long term. Taking mini games, for example. Like, some were fun, I guess, doing it once or twice, but I nothing really, from what I played, nothing seemed like it was going to be like Gwent in The Witcher or anything of that caliber. And I'm unsure of how, systems like, mining and upgrading your weapons, I'm unsure of how interesting that stuff is going to be in the long run. I just don't really know. And I'm also unsure of the story as a whole, I am interested in seeing where things go to a certain degree. Like, it's not like I'm not curious at all, but the game hasn't done anything yet in my time with it to make me that invested into the story. Certainly not really emotionally invested in any notable way, such as character building and stuff like that. But that may change as time goes on. I didn't even make it to the Greymane camp and trying to establish that, and that's when you reunite with some companions. So maybe.
So it sounds like his concerns are, stop comparing to RPGs. The devs even said so. Some of you, I don't think, understand what the purpose of comparison is, so I'm no longer going to defend the reason why we can compare games to other games. If you're not able to understand why we compare games in that way, because it then helps people make an educated decision, like if you're too short to ride that ride, I'm going to stop defending it, and I'm just going to trust that everybody else in chat understands why we're doing that, and you can just miss out on why that's important. That feels like user error. It sounds, again, like the concerns are breadth. There's so much breadth in this game that, is it really going to feel impactful to go and do mining or fishing or farming? Are those things going to feel very silly and like a waste of time? Are they going to feel substantive? One of the things that can happen in a game like this when there's quantitatively so many things to do is there's a lack of substance to those activities, so then they end up just largely being ignored. Are you going to be just flat out ignoring those things? Not you, some people are. Yeah, but Batman, I still think that that's fair to do. I think it's totally fair for people to compare this to an RPG. Homie, it looks and walks and talks an awful lot like an RPG because it started out as an MMORPG. So I think it's fair for people to make those comparisons, brother. I thought you were having a go at me. I was like, goodness gracious. I think it's totally fair to say that this game is posturing as an open world action game, but it sounds like it's got the complexity and the depth of an RPG, even though they're saying that it's not an RPG, right? It's one of those things where at some ground level, I think that those instincts in the players and those senses that people have about games could potentially work against the receptibility of this game.
Maybe it will get much better in that category, or maybe it won't. Maybe it's just not a story focused game at this point in time. Since so many of you guys are love stories in video games on my channel, I would say that right now I'm more so looking at the story as something that is going to unlock cool stuff for my character and unlock cool areas versus being something, a deep story where I'm like, I can't wait to get revenge on this character. And that's going to be a problem for some of you, but like I said, initial impressions wise, this could change. And things that I'm actually concerned about right now, the amount of lifeless NPCs that I encountered. And lifeless doesn't mean that they're static necessarily, just there's not really much interaction you can do with most of them besides a basic greeting. And then
Discord is still muted, my bad. There we go. Wishlist Sorrows for the latest updates. Thanks to... Well, I don't know why that says thanks to so-and-so. Okay, let's go ahead and go and see if does Skill Up have chapters in this? He doesn't. Let's see. Who were we listening to? We were listening to Fighting Cowboy was talking about the controls. I want to see what he has to say about the controls and the combat. So let's listen to what Fighting Cowboy has to say here, because it does sound like that is one of the issues that is frustrating people.
I was done playing. I was grasping that. I was able to hit my parries. I was able to hit my heavy attacks, my charge attacks, bait enemies into certain things. In the secondary play session, I did manage to just kind of abuse the boss using those charge attacks, which was pretty funny because everyone else was refighting it, and I was like, oh, if I just use my light and heavy charge attack and swap to different elements, this guy gets cooked in a couple charged heavy swings. So some minor balance concerns there, but we'll talk more about that at a later section of the video. But basically, the combat just has an insane level of freedom, and it's especially when you're first starting out, it's going to feel very overwhelming as you open up the skill trees and see all of these different options. But
I actually think this preview is going to be really helpful to a lot of us. Going in knowing this, I'm not going to feel like a dum-dum. I mean, a lot of times I do feel like a dum-dum, like when I'm trying to pick up a chainsaw in Resident Evil. People are really enjoying that footage. But But I'll at least know everybody else kind of feels like a dum-dum as well. Like, we can all be dum-dums together. So, like, I actually think this is helpful as a preview to let people know, like, hey, it's going to feel like you're drinking from a fire hose at the beginning, okay? Like, you're going to be having a time and get through it. It's worth it. So I actually think this is really, really helpful to know.
There's so much going on, whether you're focused on weapon play or you're focused on your elements or you're focused on like your grapples and your martial arts, that people are just going to have a riot playing this game. Like I said, I feel like even with the 4 hours I played, I feel like by the time I was done, I had a grasp of the combat basics, and there was still tons of stuff that I wasn't even sure how to execute. Now, in terms of button inputs for all this,
screw that chainsaw in particular. Yeah, it's fine. I don't care. They're all having a lot of fun brigading the video. They magically skip to like an hour and 50 minutes in. They just magically know right where to go. They skipped the entire first hour where I was, having a good time and not having any difficulty. Like, Leon down the street. I had a great time with him there, but, anyways. What I find interesting about this is I wonder if they won't put out like a guide video or like, hey, here's where we think you should start. Because it honestly feels like one of those games where maybe you should start just really heavily investing in one of the trees and get really good with that particular skill tree and those skill sets or those moves or whatever. Like, I wonder if they should put something like that out there. Like, is that where people are tripping up? Like, is there just so much to do and they're introducing you to all those things? So a lot of times the game will do this. They'll be like, hey, we want to introduce you to the red tree, so they give you a red ability. We want to introduce you to the green tree, so they give you a green ability. And then they do the same thing with the blue tree. And after they do that, you're like, okay, but this doesn't really have cohesion yet. I'm kind of confused. And then you don't really know where you're supposed to dive in. Where are you supposed to invest? Where are you supposed to go next or level up or what have you? So I wonder if that is going to be something that they decide to do. Like, are they going to put out a getting started guide or like a video to say, hey, this is going to help you in those early hours not feel so overwhelmed? Like, I think they're getting really good feedback from the people that went to the preview event. If someone like Fighting Cowboy can get to a place where he's ripping the game up, then we know that the combat system is going to be fun, right? This guy knows his stuff. But if even he is saying, it can be a bit much, some people are going to be maybe overwhelmed or confused or what have you. A lot of these guys, they play for a living, right? And I think that if they're saying it, it's likely to cause some potential issues. This is why I enjoy your live streams. You look at everything from a completely neutral stance. I mean, I try to stay neutral. It's almost impossible. Like, nobody's purely neutral, but I try to look at it from all angles so that you guys get a lot of feedback. Is he still the most skeptical about Crimson Desert? I still am very skeptical. I mean, they basically said that nobody would believe their console footage, so that's why we still don't have console footage, and they're going to give it to Digital Foundry instead. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't you do that right now? Why wouldn't you give them the ability to make that video and put it out a couple of days or a week before the game comes out so that the console users can have footage? Like, Will Powers is getting, like, really frustrated with people on Twitter saying that, like, oh, we're not hiding anything. And it's like, homie, what are people supposed to think? You put 30 minutes of PC footage on the PlayStation channel. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
I do think in combat, button inputs were fine. Outside of combat, I was constantly running into some button confusion on the controller. So to talk about that a little bit, one of the big things that I constantly was struggling with was, like, left stick was crouch, and I kept hitting left stick to sprint. And so I'd get ready to sprint instead crouch. As far as I could see, there was no...
Can we just talk about why games need to stop doing that? Can we just stop doing that? Why are you putting... Why? Or at least let us rebind it. Like, everybody accidentally clicking your stick into crouch. Like, okay.
No way to rebind the controller scheme. So that's obviously something that raises some concerns, but it might have been because we were in a demo, like, a slice of the game. The sprint's a little weird. It was like you held A to start sprint.
What did he just say? Wait, hang on. I'm going to go back.
Raises some concerns, but it might have been because we were in a demo, like, a slice of the game.
We need to get confirmation if that's true or not, because if they were playing a vertical slice, were they not playing the full game? I don't know. That makes a lot of this not I really hope maybe he was just speaking out of presumption there, and that they were, I want to know, were they actually playing the full game or were they playing a slice?
Sprint's a little weird. It was like you held A to start sprinting, and then you would tap it to go from like a jog to a sprint, and then that would drain stamina faster. So just trying to get a feel for that, and then like also jumping and whatnot. Definitely was running into button confusion with the general controls. And then on top of that, there was environmental manipulation type things I could do. So
Wolvement Gaming says, I've heard multiple times it was a beta and not the full game. Come on, man. Are you serious? This close to the game, why wouldn't you have people playing the full game? I don't understand. So 2 weeks before the game comes out, you didn't have people playing the full game? According to Luke, they were given unrestricted freedom for 4 hours from the game's start. That was my impression as well. My impression was they were playing the actual game. We need to get a concrete answer on this. We don't want to presume. Cowboy might have just spoke out of turn and just spoke on presumption. He might have been like, yeah, we were playing a demo. We were playing a slice of the game. He just said it. He was at the event. He may have just misspoke. I don't know. They have sent out review copies. I don't know why you wouldn't just have people playing the review copy at the event.
We got something that was very similar to what we had in Breath of the Wild, and you got this as you progressed into the Abyss, which we'll talk more about that in the next section of the video. But I had the ability to grab objects and like freely manipulate them, push, pull, move all over. I had like a force push that I could do, and I could also jump and use that as a rappel. And then I got the glide, but the glide was also along the same lines as the double jump. So like if I was on a flat platform, I would double jump. If I was jumping off a cliff, instead of getting a double jump, I'd transition into a glide. And so there were a lot of different inputs and controls.
You guys think he misspoke? We need to get a clear answer. Did anybody else say that? Can you guys find me other creators that were there that said it was a slice, it was a demo, it wasn't the full game? Because if Luke Stevens said they were given unfettered freedom, I don't think you could do that with a vertical slice. That wouldn't work. You wouldn't just be able to go anywhere you want. You'd be constantly running into barriers and limitations and like false stops.
That were, I want to say, overlapping, or what you would do would change depending on the situation you were in. And so I definitely think the control scheme for the game is going to be one of the hardest things for people to pick up and run with, and even myself.
Okay, it sounds like maybe Fighting Cowboy misspoke, because Paul is saying in our Discord, Luke said it was the latest build of the game. Okay, that is a little bit more comforting. I'm like, none of this means anything if it wasn't the game. Like, Jiminy Christmas. Okay, if it was the latest build of the game, then as I said at the beginning of my coverage today, if you're a PC user, that's pretty encouraging. I mean, this is looking very, very good for people that are on good to great PCs. Mega Galaxy Games with a £5 super chat. Hey man, haven't been around for a while. Hope everything's good. Looking forward to Crimson Desert myself. Thank you so much. Hey guys, we're really close to 300 likes on YouTube. Do me a favor and hit the like button, and maybe help us hit our goal. Become a member today for $5, and you get into our Discord, and we're trying to get to 600 people.
As I was playing through, after about the first hour, one of my first thoughts was like, maybe I play this with mouse and keyboard. Like, there's so many different inputs going on that might be easier. And I tried to pick that up, and there just really wasn't enough time to like try and make that transition. And then on top of that, the mouse and the keyboard were actually like really tight against the setup. They put some crazy straps on all the cables, so I could barely adjust that. And was like, screw it, I'm just going to go back to controller and try and learn what I can with this control scheme and try and work with it. But yeah, the control scheme is absolutely going to be a learning curve. I think that's going to be one of the biggest things that people are going to struggle with here. Moving on, though, to talk about gameplay just out in the world, like emergent world options, because that's one of the things that really blew me away, because this was...
Hang on, Zybersword is saying, SkillUp said they were put into the starting area and then a different portion of the game after. That makes me think it was a slice. Will Powers said he was taking like save states of the game to the events. So I wonder if that's what SkillUp is describing. Did they like skip to a further part in the game, like a save state, not a slice, but like a, hey, okay, load up save XY2. All right, when you load up XY2, you're going to be further in the game and in a different region or something. That doesn't necessarily mean it was a slice. That's just a different save state.
It's like an MMO level of activities that have been shoved into a single player game. And just to give you like the Cliff Notes version of my first trip to town, I showed up to town, there was like a cat meowing, I picked up the cat, suddenly I'm just carrying this cat around on my arm and petting it and shit. I found out after the fact I could apparently raise the companion level of the cat up, and then it would just loot corpses for me after I killed enemies, which is crazy to hear. Wandered into some bar, got into an arm wrestling competition with some guy that seemed like he was kind of drunk. He actually ended up being pretty cool. After that, wandered outside. There was some kid in the street that wanted me to play rock, paper, scissors, so I got into a rock, paper, scissors battle with the kid. After that, some lady had a cat stuck up on a roof, so I jumped up on the roof to rescue some lady's cat. Another lady, her husband was faking being injured. I had to help clean their chimney. From there, I got an item. And then I finally went and like started progressing what the main quest was. So this was all just stuff.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was kind of expecting. So I wasn't expecting like every NPC to be interactable, but I expected there to be like emergent moments like that where you like run into a person or an animal, or in this case, you know, quests and things like that. So it sounds like it is open world exploratory purpose. It sounds like those things are intact. Like you're not just going to be linearly moving from thing to thing to thing. It sounds like there's actual reasons to be rewarded. I think even Jor Raptor said he found like a hidden boss and he got like a really, really good item from it. So
that was in the town that I stumbled onto. And then on top of that, the way the main story progressed, so I had like a marker to go give a beggar a coin. I gave the beggar a coin, he vanished. But suddenly there was like a sewer that was highlighted. So I go down into the sewer, and then there was a princess that needed rescued. And I'm like, this is out of place. So I rescued the princess. That gave me some key. From there, made my way up towards one of the castles. Had to change the clothing I was wearing to get into the castle so that they recognized that I was like, you know, not some hobo mercenary, and I was somebody that belonged to part of the town. Found a secret door. That went into the Abyss Realm. And that's what suddenly opened up all of the manipulation type stuff, like the
a Korean streamer played the game on PS5 normal mode during the demonstration and said it ran very well. If you're talking about CES, I don't know what to say about that. Thank you for 12 months from Mega Galaxy Games. 12 months. This looks beautiful, to be honest. Just hope it works on my 7900 GRE. So I don't know if I necessarily take that one to the bank. Mainly because, like, I think people were playing it at CES, and it's like, but we don't have any footage from that. I think Jez Corden even told me he saw it being played on a PlayStation, and he said it ran really, really well. Again, if that's the case, why in the world don't we have footage, right? I said this morning when he said that, when Fighting Cowboy said, well, we are they don't want us to see console footage because we won't believe it, so they're going to send the console footage to Digital Foundry, and they're going to have a console footage video. And you know what I said? I actually accept that answer, because like I'm like I wouldn't believe it. If they uploaded a video right now, I'd be super skeptical. I'd be like, you guys took way too long to do this, and you're only doing it because people basically berated you into doing it. The game is playable right now on console. Why can't we see console footage? So I actually accept their answer. I really hope the Digital Foundry video drops before the game is playable, so that people can make a decision and know exactly what's going on. That's what I hope. If what they said is true and accurate, and that this game is so mind-blowing on console that like nobody was going to believe it, then I really truly hope, that they get that video out before the game is playable, because I don't want anybody to be in the dark. If you're going to buy the game on console, I think it's totally fair for you to get a good look at this game on the console before buying it. I think this is a very, very fair expectation. You know, as a consumer, I don't think that that's abnormal to ask that. You know, I don't think that's out of left field. I feel like letting Digital Foundry do it specifically speaks to their confidence. I honestly think console's struggling right now for creativity. I don't think the new consoles will come out in 2027 because of the shortages. I don't know how you're relating that to creativity. The console's not coming out in 2027 is pretty much common knowledge right now, and it has to do with hardware, and it also has to do with like planning and how much they're going to get out of this gen. I don't think that has anything to do with creativity, though. I don't connect those ideas. It's almost unheard of for a publisher to give Digital Foundry their game before it drops. That's not true at all. Digital Foundry gets hands-on games before they drop all the time. You're completely, what you're saying is totally inaccurate. Almost never happens. It happens incredibly consistently. What are you talking about? I have very regularly, in all the years that I've done this, been able to pull up Digital Foundry videos. The minute reviews hit, Digital Foundry has a bunch of videos. What are you talking about? That is extremely common, brother. They are very, very regularly getting review copies, my man. Like, listen to me when I say this. It was weird when they didn't get review copies. That's how often they get review copies. You're completely incorrect in what you're saying. All the time. Yes, there was a time where they didn't get a review copy, and everyone was like, why wouldn't Digital Foundry get a review copy? That's so weird. That's how common it is for them to get a review copy. Like, it's extremely standard. They are incredibly highly respected individuals in the market. They get review copies more than they don't. Come on now. Come on. Listen. This game could be amazing. It could do everything they've promised, and it could run amazingly on console. It could. I think my skepticism up to now has been completely warranted, because every other time a studio has done this, every other time a publisher has played these games, it's because the game's not ready. It's because the game runs poorly on console. This is not our first rodeo. If it comes out and it's amazing, it'll be one of the first games. It'll be one of the first games to do all this oddities and strangeness with the marketing and stick the landing. Like, I think, and this is what I said before, I said, listen, I'd rather be cautious and skeptical and proven wrong than to get everybody hyped up and then be super disappointed when the game comes out. Like, I think that's a far better posture to have. I've not been hating on this game. I've not been encouraging people, to boycott or anything. I've just said, if you're on console, I would not pre-order. And I think that's a very fair thing to advise people to do. Kotaku's saying that players are worried about Crimson Desert's lack of console review codes ahead of launch, and the game's marketing director says the drama is overblown. We're not hiding anything. According to Fighting Cowboy, console review access will be granted to Digital Foundry, and it's because we wouldn't believe them. That's what was relayed. That was the information that Fighting Cowboy relayed. If that's what was said and that's what happens, I can't wait to watch that video. I told you guys, if I was wrong and this game comes out and looks that good and runs that good on console, I was going to throw confetti in the air. I will have confetti ready. I will. I'll have it in my hand and I'll be ready. And if I play the game and I determine that it looks as good and runs as good, I'll be like, here you go. And I'll throw it all up in the air and we'll play the game and we'll have a great time. Being wrong about this can only benefit me and you guys. We'll all have a great time and we'll all have a good game to play. Whoever's playing this has no thumbs. Fighting Cowboy's playing. He's actually a really good player, so maybe he was just having an issue with the bow. I don't know. We could go back and see what he has to say. Hang on. He's talking about world design. Let's see if he speaks about the bow here.
The fast travel in the abyss to get around in the world. But, that's it kind of comes with territory with these preview events because you don't typically have the time to get 100% grasp of everything that's going on. You're kind of just flying by the edge of your seat. But so there is a fast travel type system. It is something that you have to unlock as you progress. In general, though, the world design with like going through zones and then capturing forts and whatnot seemed like it would be pretty cool. I tried to ride way on out into the distance to do a bounty mission that I had, and unfortunately I hit an invisible wall, which afterwards they were like, well, we gave you the entire first area to explore, but we didn't want people going beyond that, which does make...
Okay, listen, I feel really bad because I feel like I'm watching my own gameplay. Like, I totally do all the things he's doing. Like, I miss, I overshoot, I shoot too early, like... I totally do all the things he was just doing, so I don't fault him for the footage here. I don't fault him at all. The problem with Access Media is they don't really expound on possible negative aspects of the game. I feel like virtually every video we've watched today has done a really, really good job outlining the potential pitfalls of the game. Fighting Cowboy did it, Wolfheart did it, Joraptor did it, Skill Up did it. Every single one of these homies, every shoot too early, pause. Man, shut the frick up. Golly goodness. We can't say anything anymore without it being a pause. Golly. Shut up. Shut it. You shut your mouth. No, but I feel like all the videos we've watched, I feel like they've all done a very good job of saying, here's where things could go wrong. Here's where people could get frustrated or have a bad time, right? I think you're hating because you didn't get a review copy. Well, that's a very dizzying form of logic, as I've not hated on the game at all yet. I feel like you're talking in all caps and typing in all caps in my chat like a tantrum-throwing child. I mean, I guess we both could throw things around that are, observational, I guess. Crimson Desert on the PS5 is said to have a 40 to 45 FPS in quality mode. I mean, if it gets 40 to 45 FPS in quality mode, that's really impressive. A gifted member comes in from Mega Galaxy, and he gets us to 228. Guys, the next milestone of 250. I'll owe you a member. Let's see who can get it. Fighting Cowboy's the GOAT. Yeah. I think he's really good at these types of games. Come on, guys, like the stream. It's easy. It is easy to like the stream. Hit that thumbs up button. Thank you, everybody, for being here this morning. Loney, you're so bad at hating. I've never seen anything like it before. Why would you want 40 to 45 FPS, though? Yeah, uncapped quality mode is kind of weird. Yeah. We have seen you being critical about it running like that on consoles, which it probably will not. Probably will not what? You think it's not going to run this well on consoles? You think it's going to run really, really well on consoles? Which is it? In Korea, only 4 people demonstrated the game at Pearl Abyss headquarters. The demo version was the January version. The PS5 demo lasted about 20 minutes before a 6-hour PC demo. With VRR, it should feel fine for that quality mode. Yeah, but VRR doesn't do anything when you drop below, like 48 frames, right? You think it's because of PSSR 2? Well, then what about the people on a base PS5 or a Series X? Yes, not as well as on PC. Oh, my issue was never that it should run exactly the same as on PC. My issue was I want it to run well. I want it to run well. Like, that's all I care about. I don't need everything to be turned up to 11. I just need the 60 FPS to not budge, especially if I'm getting in fights like this. Like, look at everything he's doing. Moving around, multiple targets, lots of combat, lots of agility, lots of player volition. You don't want hitches and glitches and stutters here. You want this to run really, really well. I've said that since the beginning. The thing that drew me in and the thing that made me want to play Crimson Desert was the combat. It was the combat. It looks incredible. I mean, they just lopped a tree down in the middle of a fight. All right. But I don't want the game to perform poorly in that combat. That would be very frustrating. He just slammed that tree. I'm a little worried about my 4-year-old CPU, though. My 3080 will lap this up. The combat seems to be very similar to Black Desert, which is nice. At least muscle memory will be clean. At the speed of combat, 45 FPS would suck. I mean, it could be frustrating, to be playing at this speed and have that level of frame rate. Like, I obviously want, I prefer 60. I would not want to play this game at 45. Clubbed him with a whole tree. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, Jiminy Christmas. This game looks insane. I think in the one preview that they showed us, the one trailer that they showed us, didn't he grab a cement pillar and just whammo, hit the guy with it? This gameplay is on PC. Apparently, we will be treated to console gameplay from Digital Foundry, and that will take place at launch, is the phrase that was used. I don't know if that means before launch or after. I suppose we could see if Will Powers will give us an answer on Twitter. Let's see. we could say, let's see, hey, Will Powers, concerning Crimson Desert console gameplay, it is being claimed that Digital Foundry will have console gameplay to show at launch. Is this before release date with the review embargo, or I'll just ask that. Hey, Will Powers, concerning Crimson Desert console gameplay, it is being claimed that Digital Foundry will have console gameplay to show, quote, at launch. Is this before release date with the review embargo? PlayStation has posted a lengthy blog. Yeah, I read the blog. It's a freaking commercial. It's a commercial. They played the same thing everybody else played. They did not play it on PlayStation. Now, they say that the PSSR update's being utilized on the Pro. Okay, they say that. And they say that the game, has been optimized to run well on consoles. But that's just what they at the event on a PlayStation or something. So at this moment in time, we do not have console footage of this game. Oh my gosh, it happened again. I'm sorry, guys. We just switched ingest servers again. YouTube must be doing something. It must be like a monthly thing where they do something with the ingest servers. We just switched ingest servers again. It's not my connection. I promise you. Twitch isn't blipping like at all. Do me a favor. And hit the like button. Hit the like button and check your renewals. Those blips hurt us really, really bad. If you guys get like audio glitches or anything weird like that, you're just going to have to refresh. It's YouTube's cycle. Yes, it's YouTube's time of the month, guys. It is. It is. What is that, Helm? He's a bug. Yes, Yelgler, we're aware of that, and thank you for letting us know as well. Fighting Cowboys video states that he asked about PlayStation performance. He was told that Digital Foundry was being provided with the console review versions and should have performance at launch. Yeah, he said something that I actually agree, or I actually accept. Okay, I actually accept this. They're like, nobody would believe it if it came from us. That's what they said, right? Evan Terrible got access to PS5 Pro gameplay. Clearly you haven't. No, there's no PS5 Pro gameplay footage out there. No, No. If that were true, then Will Powers would point to that video. Fighting Cowboy specifically asked about console performance, and he was told that console footage would be coming from Digital Foundry. There is not console footage available. There is a 1 and 40-second long release date trailer on the PlayStation channel that they say is PS5 Pro. It's captured on a PS5 Pro or whatever. That means nothing because it's super edited. Thank you for another gifted member, Mr. Mega Galaxy Games. That dude never gets access to anything. He lies and uploads PC footage. He does it with every game release, says Creature. Yes, you have to be very careful with channels like that. They will literally re-upload PC footage and they will just claim it's PS5 or 4K or 60 FPS because they're just literally front-loading the title of their video with search terms. He's just playing the YouTube game, dude. It's a common tactic on YouTube. You've got to be very careful. There are so many channels out there that do that. They throw the PlayStation little thing, the little corner blue PlayStation triangle on their thumbnail. They oversaturate their thumbnails and make them look insanely crispy. And they'll claim they have like 4K, 60 FPS PlayStation 5 footage. And it'll just be re-uploaded PC footage from some other channel. There are channels that do that all of the time. I actually think that those videos should be demonetized because they're lying. I don't think you should be able to do that. If you want to re-upload trailers, whatever, but don't say it's something that it's not. I think those videos should be demonetized. You should not be able to upload PC footage and call it PS5 footage and mislead people. I think that's ridiculous. The studio has not done that. The publishers have not done that. There are YouTube channels that do that. So here's a boss fight. I think this might be the hidden boss fight that Jor Raptor was talking about. He says that this was the fight that he got like a really good, he really got a really good item from this. It's like the tabloid section of YouTube. I have a Series S. I'm so scared it will look like crap. Can everyone... There's no video of it on the S, Josh. There's no video. So what we've been told is that Digital Foundry will have console footage. I am trying to find out when that footage will drop. I have tweeted at Will Powers on Twitter. Listen, if you guys want to give this tweet some love, if you want to signal boost this tweet to see if we can't get his attention, I would just really like an answer. When are we going to see that footage? I think it's a very simple question to ask. Looks like Big Daddy from BioShock. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. This boss is right out of BioShock. Will this be on the Switch 1? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. So be sure to signal boost, retweet that, give that tweet some love, see if we can't get him to say the exact date that will be happening. Again, I think that is a completely and totally fair request to make. So, we have a target price for the Xbox Magnus. So, looks like Moore's Law is dead is now leaking more information about the Magnus, targeting a 2027 launch. Yeah. Wait, no, this is Luke Stevens. He edits. There's not enough gameplay in his because he, like, splices himself into it too much. I mean, he's free to do that, but I just want gameplay running behind me. I will link to all of these videos. That's why I'm not letting you guys hear everything that they're saying. If you want to hear what these guys are saying. So, there's a whole article released by PlayStation about the PS5 Pro footage that dropped today. There is no PS5 Pro footage, and the PlayStation blog does not talk about playing it on a PlayStation. They went to the same capture event that everybody else went to, and they all played on PC. Please stop spreading false information. Luke loves himself too much. I think he was in charge of all the editing of the New Game Plus event. You know, can't just let the games play. Got to keep putting himself in front of the camera. I'm kidding. I'm teasing. I am totally teasing. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. You're handsome. We understand. But Jiminy Christmas, let us see the games, brother. What's up with the misinformation about the game? It feels intentional. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why people are insisting on saying things that aren't true about it, you know? Mm-hmm. That's the PlayStation blog post. Yeah, we already read it. It does not indicate anything other than what we already know about the game. Now, they did indicate that they were told that it's going to use PSSR2. They weren't shown. They were simply told. So somebody at PlayStation was at the event and has not played the game on PlayStation and was told about the technology that they're going to be leveraging. Okay, that's great. When can I see the game on console? You know what I mean? When can I see it? I just keep coming back to that. But there's a blog, and there's a trailer from a couple of months ago. I know. When can I see console gameplay? But there's this and there's that, and somebody said this, and this trailer's been re-uploaded. Okay, that's great. When can I see console gameplay? My bad, Google is bad. Oh, Metal Double Dog. You have got to be so careful with that, dude. Google will absolutely lie to you right now if you just trust that AI summary. My daughter had a Pokemon card, and she asked the Echo in the house how much it was worth, and she was convinced it was worth $387. And I'm like, kiddo, it's doing a quick search, and it's getting some bad AI summary. I promise you your card's not worth almost $400. And she was obviously... She wasn't devastated, but she was disappointed as we went through all their cards. And I was like, yeah, none of these cards are worth anything, y'all. I was like, if your cards are from right now, it would be obvious that it was super rare and worth money. It would be super obvious. It's time to save $1 a day and get off that Series S. Yeah, I mean, if you're playing on the Series S in 2026, I think from this point forward, you're probably going to want to set your sights on upgrading to something else, whether it's a PC or a PS5 or a Pro. It's time. I think you're going to continue to run into issues with games going forward. I don't know why they don't just put out 10 minutes of gameplay on every platform with no cutscenes to ease people. This is what they said, Downwell. They actually answered that question. They said that nobody would believe them. And at some level, I accept their answer, because you're right. I wouldn't believe you. I wouldn't. I would just assume that it is some vertical slice that's been souped up. Right? I would just assume. Does that make sense? Like, I actually accept their answer. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I wouldn't believe you. I'll believe Digital Foundry, though, if you send them a console version of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, at this point, yeah, you know what? You're right. I actually respect that. I wouldn't believe you at all. You haven't shown us gameplay on the console all this time. Late game suddenly doing it. I'd be mega skeptical. You know? It's a lose-lose situation for them, and they've just defaulted to letting other people speak for them. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, as long as the game looks and runs as well as they've been boasting, who the heck cares? You know? As long as it does all those things, I'm good. If it runs really bad and it doesn't look very good, then that'll be pretty disappointing. But, you know, we'll know soon enough. Huh? That was strange. They turned down the exclusive time slot. I don't know what you're talking about in the DM. If you have amazing console footage, how is it a loss to show it? I will say this, okay? I will say this. The skeptical part of my brain does make me curious. The general public wouldn't be skeptical and not believe you. Yes, Twitter and Reddit and YouTubers like me would be like, yeah, I don't know, that could be a vertical slice. The average consumer doesn't think like that. So why not just put out a video on the PlayStation YouTube channel and the Xbox channel and show off how great this game looks? Wouldn't that go a long way to convince John Q. Public that this game's going to be amazing on their console? From a marketing perspective, it doesn't make an ounce of sense to me. Now, it makes sense in our world that we all operate in. People on Reddit, people on Twitter, people on YouTube. In our world, I actually think his answer makes perfectly good sense. In the marketing world, and you consider like the general gaming public would not watch footage on the PlayStation channel that said, hey, here's PS5 and PS5 Pro footage. The average consumer wouldn't be like, I don't believe it. Do you understand where I'm coming from on this? It's like, I don't understand what you're doing from a marketing perspective. Why would you not be boasting and showing off how great this game is on console to the console owners? Do you understand my logic? It's like 30 minutes of PC footage was uploaded to the PlayStation channel, and you got everybody wowed and gobsmacked. Like, look at how many people come in here and tell me I'm just being a hater and I'm just being critical. Where's the Android footage? Fair. Hey guys, I've got a PC for $1,200 and a 4060 that's way better than the Pro. That homie got real quiet real fast that day. It's like, you talking about scam? I think you're the one that got scammed, brother. Oh. Pearl Abyss officially confirmed that Crimson Desert's optimized for the PS5 through a number of features that help maintain the detail. Yeah, but they've not shown it to us yet. Quit telling and start showing. Hey guys, I just want to tell you something. I got a really quick update here. We need to hang on. Let's take the gameplay down for just a second. I want to tell this to you. This is hard for me to admit, but I'm actually 6.5 feet tall. I'm not going to show you. I don't have any pictures to prove it, but I think it's time that I got this off my chest. I've been living a lie. I'm actually 6.5 feet tall. I can reach the top shelf at the grocery store without a problem. I've never had to ask for help getting cereal down. So I wanted to get that out there, okay? But I'm not going to show you, but I just wanted to make sure and tell you. Now I need you guys to all write blog posts and make videos saying Reforged Gaming boasts of being 6.5 feet tall, okay? Thank you. I appreciate you guys and your time and your support. This is going to be a hard time for me. This is going to be a hard time for me moving forward with the truth out there. But I appreciate y'all being here right now. If they say that you're lying, they're haters. That's right. If you are being toxic and negative if you don't believe me. So get effed. And just like that, I'm tall. Yes. I love it. That makes your wife 8 feet tall. Can we get a round of applause to Amateur Shock? That's Mr. 512. He usually really, really struggles to type, and he actually made a very good joke just now. I really think he didn't even spell Lono. He said Lorno, but I mean, it's the thought that counts. That's actually a pretty good joke. He said that would make your wife 8 feet tall then. That's excellent. Thank you. That's his once a month chat message that I can actually understand. He just hit his quota. I hope we get the console vid soon. Like, why not show us? I'm so confused. They told Fighting Cowboy that nobody would believe them. That's what they said. And I keep coming back to the question of what the frick, like, what the general public doesn't think that way. Why would you not? Do you see where I'm coming from on that? Like, John Q. Public, homie sitting at home that turns on his Xbox or his PlayStation, somebody's going to be like, hey, there's a new trailer. They're showing off Crimson Desert on the Xbox or the PlayStation 5 or the Pro. That John Q. Public will be like, sweet, let me take a look at that. He'd watch it on his phone and be like, holy crap, that looks amazing. There was still a typo? Yes, there was still a typo. Listen, little victories, right? Little victories. It's just a joke. Chill. Homie, I sometimes worry about you, 512. I feel like you're a sentient AI. I really do. Like, you're not reading human emotion very well. Like, all you did was interpret tone of voice, and you thought that I was actually irritated. Did SkillUp say even he was skeptical of PC performance and visuals until he got his hands on? Yeah. You are being critical and skeptical, but you have every right to be given the quadruple A market right now. I'm still excited. I can't help it. Thank you for the £5 super chat, Mega Galaxy Games. And then Tyler's going to renew his VIP, and we're sitting at 230 members. We'll see if anybody takes the bait and drops a 20 bomb all the way to 250. We've stalled out a little bit today on the goal. Let's see if we can put it into high gear. If your platform gets to 100 members on a day, I owe you a 5 bomb of members. So thank you, everybody, for being here. I know this is off topic, but have you seen IGN Control Resident First Look? I have not. I'll take a look at that later. I'm very, very excited. I'm very excited. I want to hear what they have to say. I love Control. Broken Earth says a 20 bomb. Wow. Yeah, we're a 20 bomb away. What do you mean? What's that? Why are you saying wow to that? We have every right to be skeptical until the devs prove us wrong. Nothing wrong with that. Where are you with RE9? I'm at the section, no spoilers, I'm at the section where you play as Leon and you're in like a more open area. That's all I'll say. I'm absolutely loving it. I do think there's some oddities when you're playing as Leon. Sometimes I feel like John Wick, and other times I feel like a punching dummy. It really does shift on you, but I'm really enjoying it. When I feel like John Wick, it's really fun. can be a little awkward at times, like positioning and getting a little stun locked at times. But overall, I've really enjoyed it. Funny enough, I actually feel more empowered and more consistent when I play as Grace, which is very interesting. I did not expect that. Saying I can't read human behavior, calling me autistic. I'm not calling you autistic. I called you AI. I mean, maybe that's what AI stands for. An autistic individual. I don't know. Now I'm very confused. Is that what AI is? Are we all wrong about everything? I think I need to take the rest of the day off. I'm looking for that Pragmata. As for RE9, I finished it yesterday. It was a lot of fun. Noob. Just remember, mate, L2 is aim, not shoot. No, that's not my issue. It's a positioning thing. There's been a couple of times, like, I'll get past a boss, and he still manages to grab me. It's just a little awkward at times. It's just a little awkward, that's all. I think you're onto something. Yeah, I wonder if that's why AI is consistently getting things wrong. You know? I don't know. I hear you, mate, just teasing. There's been a couple of sections where I felt freaking awesome, Wooly. Like, I've made good decisions, I've positioned myself well, and I've felt like a freaking boss. There's been other times where I'm like, you're just overwhelming me. Holy crap, what do you expect me to do here? And I feel like you get through it and can be a little bit luck-based. Like, sometimes you just get lucky on positioning, like they don't go the same way or they do something a little bit differently. Yeah. I was talking to somebody in DMs about it last night, and he agreed. He was like, yeah, he's like, I felt the same way. It feels like it swings a little bit. It can feel like a bit of a pendulum swing. Overall, I'm having a great time. Like, it's a minor quibble. It's not a major problem. Pragmata has an open world New York. It is shocking RE Engine did that. Pragmata looks like Capcom's just going to be absolutely cooking this year. I feel like Pragmata and RE9 are going to dominate the Game Awards categories. They're going to be up there so many times. On my first Insanity run now, it's hard as F. Yeah, Mighty Keith did the Insanity run in like 5 hours. I was pretty shocked. I was like, wow. So, make sure you guys are hitting the like button. Try to get us to 400 likes. We've had some server blips today, but you guys have maintained just an awesome vibe and a lot of great back and forth. I'll be linking to SkillUp's video, Wolfheart's video. I'll be linking to their videos in the description below if you guys want to watch these later. If you want to hear all their commentary, I did not want to serve as a replacement to their videos. That's why I stopped listening to them. I want you guys to support the original creators that got a chance to go to this preview event. I'm thinking Pearl Abyss is pulling off an impressive achievement with the Crimson Desert even on console. People point to Black Desert being ahead of its time. Graphically, it ran well. Well, it took a long time to get there, and they're different engines, Tommy, so I do think some people were still skeptical for that reason. A $5 super chat from Neo Reaper. So all those guys who ask, will you apologize if you're wrong about High Guard, they're awfully quiet right now? Yeah, I wonder when that's going to happen. Ginger says, boom, thanks for the reminder. That's right. We're really close to 400 likes. You guys are crushing it today. Capcom's definitely cooking this year, but I'm still waiting for Dino Crisis Remake. I was talking to someone in DMs last night, and they said the same thing. It feels like it swings a bit. Okay, listen. My DMs are very different than yours, Fuzzy. Shiminy Christmas. Rip High Guard, we hardly knew you. Yeah, I feel bad for the devs. I mean, you never want to see. I never want to see a studio close down, but you definitely don't want to see the market just continually flooded with games like that, because we know what they mean and they do, and they don't do well. Like, it's just the whole thing was just so dumb. So Ghost Yote's not coming to PC. Good. Yeah, Jason Schreier officially dropped the Bloomberg article on that. Yote and Saros aren't going, which means I don't know if there anything else that will. I mean, there's multi-plats that'll go. And Neo Reaper with the 20 bomb on. YouTube takes us to 250. Neo Reaper and Risic and Broken and a few others have been absolutely carrying the member count, y'all. They have been carrying the member count. I currently owe YouTube 3. It was, 2 from yesterday and now 1 from today. Once it hits 5, I'll drop a 5 bomb. Remember, if you guys get 100 on the day for your particular platform, I do a 5 bomb anyway. So that's another great way to reward folks. This low no wick. That's ridiculous. Yeah, like Tocone will be multi-plat. Kane is going to be multi-plat. Live service games will be, multi-plat. Yeah. What does it mean for the developers that port to PC? I think that's a fair question. I don't know what Nixus is going to do. I think we had a pretty clear answer that the strategy changed when we learned that Nixus was helping Saros come to the market. It's like Nixus was already moving on to non-porting work, so maybe that's what they're going to do. Maybe they'll become a support studio that helps bring games to the market in a more timely manner. That'll help with the cadence and the rhythm that the games come out. I don't know. That would be my guess. Have they shown console gameplay? No, they have not. We have heard, if you guys are tuning in and you're looking for Crimson Desert gameplay, specifically Crimson Desert PS5 or Xbox gameplay, we have been told that is forthcoming. They gave the game to Digital Foundry to do that. This guy says, check this out. No footage, so not helpful, unfortunately. No console footage. There's no console footage in that PlayStation blog, so that's not helpful. It just isn't. Perlabest turned down the exclusivity deal. Yeah, I actually understand why they did that. I think Perlabest wanted this game to be a big multi-plat release. It also makes sense that they turned down a PlayStation exclusivity deal because PlayStation is probably not going to be where the game looks and runs the best. The game's going to look and run the best on console. I'm sorry, on PC, not on console. That's why they turned it down. That someone is Hideaki Nishino? Huh? MBG says it's clear there was a sudden and significant change within PlayStation. The fact that they actually decided to cancel Ghost of Yotei and Saros PC ports is very telling. Someone inside Sony decided it was time to go back to the way they things done 4 generations straight. Jason Schreier's Bloomberg article said everything that I said the other day. When he speculated the reasons why, it's like he literally just took, and I don't think he got this from me. Hear me when I say this. I think everybody's thinking the same thing. So I think he's thinking the exact same thing I was thinking. It was like he had my show notes. He listed all the same reasons that I did why PlayStation would back off from porting their games to PC. I don't know. It was like a copy pasta. No Saros on PC sucks. I'll be real with you, Paul. I was kind of hoping Saros would hit PC and do better than Returnal just for Housemarque to be more respected over there. Returnal just didn't get a good shot on PC because of the Epic Online thing. I'm actually kind of bummed about that. I did not care that the games went to PC. It didn't bother me at all. I just wanted them to do well over there. I wanted them to perform well and sell well. And sadly, it's not happening. Did you see Luke Stevens' review? We watched it for a little bit, but he edits his face in too much. I just wanted some B-roll from behind me while we talk about the game. And he's been very impressed with the game. He thinks it's optimized really well. He thinks it's going to run well on console and MacBook. In my mind, PlayStation got some false positives from the early PC releases and the Xbox going PC. Yeah, I think Magnus is playing a role. I think Steam Machine's playing a role, 100%. I told you guys the other day, the living room's about to get a little crowded, and I don't think PlayStation liked the idea of seeing Wolverine on a rival platform. Even if it's not a genuine form of competition, it muddies their own marketing. Their marketing is not as pure, it's not as efficacious, If someone's like, I can play Wolverine in a year or two, you know, and then Wolverine's going to show off DLSS 5 and FSR 5, and you know what I'm saying? And I keep saying it, the conversion rate wasn't what they hoped. I think it initially was really strong, Wheezy. That's why they greenlit all the other ports. I think conversion rate tapered off. I think both sales and conversion to PS5 ecosystem, I think it just naturally tapered off. The first couple times they did it, it was like gangbusters. They greenlit everything, and then I think the novelty wore off. It was like, well, we've waited all this time for Horizon and God of War, so it was massively exciting. And then the novelty wore off, and so then the sales tapered off. That means conversion tapered off, which means the reason to do it is now less potent. It's like, why are we doing this? It's because there was a lot of sequels that require you to play the first game. Right. These games are made to show off their hardware anyway, which I have, so I'm good. Everyone thought Sony was going to block games on the Magnus. Here they just said, how about we just stop porting games in general? You know what's funny, Jakob? Remember when I initially said that PlayStation would feel a certain kind of way about that and they might block the games, and everybody said that I was being ridiculous and that PlayStation wouldn't care? Y'all still feeling that way? I mean, it seems like maybe I was right. Like I said, I don't know, man. I mean, back when we heard rumors about the Magnus, I said, I think PlayStation's going to feel a certain kind of way about that. Being able to boot up their games on something called an Xbox in the living room, I don't know if they're going to like that, y'all. Blocking does not equal not porting at all, at least in my opinion. I would say it's more extreme, though, isn't it, Ginger? It shows a hesitancy. It shows a resistance about it. It's like, we don't want that. Like, does that make sense? I think the optics are better, is it not, Ginger? To just be like, we're not doing it, instead of blocking. It's like, from the public's view, it's like, oh, well, they're just not bringing their games over here anymore. Huh, guess I gotta buy a PlayStation. You block it, you look petty. You block it, you look kind of petty. It's like, well, that's petty. I can play it on my PC, but I can't play it on my Magnus. You know what I mean? I 100% guarantee the change in market dynamics with all the AI BS has made them reconsider, because prices are probably something that they worry about for the next generation console. Yeah, they need their console to be as valuable as possible, Wheezy. I think that's another observation that I made the other day. I don't know if you were here or not, but I said, I think the economics of the next console is playing a part. They need the PS5 to have more value for the rest of this gen. A great way to do that is to be like, Wolverine is only on PlayStation, brothers. It's never coming. I respectfully disagree. I get where you're coming from. I think blocking feels way harder. The not porting feels more logical. Maybe we're saying the same thing. Blocking seems like a petty move. Here's my thought on that, Ginger. They block entire regions. I don't think it would have been that difficult to block the Magnus. I mean, they block entire regions. I think you and I debated this before, and I was like, they can block an entire region from playing a dadgum game. I don't think it would be that difficult. What is this, Magnus? Xbox's PC hybrid that's coming out next year, from everything that we're hearing. Not porting is blocking. I would say it's the most extreme version of blocking. I mean, it's basically them saying, we don't want it over there. We don't want it over there. We want it here. I don't know. I feel like there was a handful of pieces at play. The PlayStation 5 is going to be extended. They need its value to maintain and go up. Great way to do that is to have GTA 6 and Wolverine only on PlayStation, at least for a time. We know GTA 6 is going to come to PC. But, you know, that increases their value. That increases the console's value. So, one video you watched this morning said 2 slices. I think it was 2 different save states. I don't think they were playing vertical slices. If you guys are watching this Crimson Desert gameplay, this is Wolfheart's gameplay. I'll have links below in the description when I'm done streaming. If you guys want to hear their commentary and their thoughts, you're going to have to go to them and support the original content. I did not want to be a replacement. I let you hear some of their thoughts. I think I watched about 2 minutes of each of their videos. There's no reason to own a PS5, says Jack. Well, now they're going to give you reasons to get a PS5. He says, I'm not going to get another console with how much this crap costs nowadays. I can't make sense of it nowadays, especially if the console prices will be higher. I don't hate the decision. Definitely understand it. I can make sense of buying a $400 PS5 half a decade ago for a few games. I can't do the same for $700 to $1,000 console. The Switch 2 was pushing it at $450. I feel like I'm missing half of your argument, Wheezy. I'm not connecting the dots here. So a $750 PS5 Pro right now that's going to be able to play GTA 6 and Wolverine. And if you've seen the footage of RE9 on the Pro, it looks incredible. Like that level of fidelity, and you're like, it's not worth it. Is it not worth it because you just still primarily play on PC, and your PC you feel like is at least future-proof enough? Like, I don't understand. I feel like Pro is going to have a long tail of value for $750. Like, in the future, won't it be more costly for you to upgrade your rig than to just own a Pro or a PS6? My PC is still extremely powerful. Yeah. I'm just thinking, if the prices are going up, won't that affect your ability to upgrade just as much? I don't think that you're necessarily dodging this. I mean, maybe you're hoping to weather the storm like I'm hoping to weather the storm. I've got a 5070 sitting over there, and I'm like, well, that'll help me weather this storm. Maybe I won't have to do anything to my rig for, 5 years or more, and hopefully everything calms down by then. You just upgrade your PC in Feb of last year. I did the same thing. I've got two really nice rigs in the room with me right now. 40 series card, 50 series card, two really nice rigs. Like, I shouldn't have to do anything for a while. I'm hoping to kind of weather the storm. But I'm just thinking, if you were wanting to play GTA 6 or Wolverine or any of these games, I don't feel like to a PC enthusiast that has that level of rig, why is $700 so expensive to you? You can wait or never play it. I don't know. I feel like somebody who drops $3,000 on a PC, not you particularly, but I feel like a lot of folks are like, $700 isn't that much to them. Colin said the same thing. Yeah, I'm not going to watch anything off topic today. We're kind of off topic right now, and that's okay, but I don't want to watch any videos that are off topic. The diminishing returns have peaked, especially with the upcoming PS6. You don't need high-end PC anymore. That's the other thing. Like, isn't the PlayStation 6 going to be a bargain given the hardware jumps aren't there anymore, which means you're going to need really, really good, neural processing, machine learning, ray tracing, upscaling, which could make that could make the PS6 more valuable for less. I don't know. In the grand scheme of things, what do I really need a console for? I wasn't interested in Wolverine and GTA 6 I can wait on. Well, yeah, I said that the other day, Wheezy. I said I could totally see a PC user shrugging at PlayStation and being like, I'm not going to buy a console for a couple of games a year. Like, you're not going to buy the console for Saros and Wolverine, right? I said that in my show open. I was like, I totally could get a PC user going like, well, I'm not going to buy a PlayStation. I can get all of the games except for what? This year, you can't get Saros and Wolverine. GTA 6 you're going to get eventually because that's not PlayStation's. I could totally understand being like, dude, I'm not spending that kind of money for a handful of games. It'll sit in my living room and it'll almost never get turned on. I actually completely understand that. The Switch 2 doesn't need to be close to the PS5 because Nintendo isn't worried about you being able to count the pores on a person's face. They care about making good games. I mean, that's a false dichotomy. I also don't think Nintendo has a great track record with respect to optimization and games running well. They're certainly turning a corner, but for a while there, you'd get a game from Nintendo and it would run really poorly. I mean, Pokemon's knocking and saying hello. I mean, the latest one's not. I didn't play Returnal when I owned a PS5, so I have zero interest in Saros. Yeah, no, I actually totally get that. To me, it sounded like you were making an issue about money, and I was like, I don't understand. Like, if you got like a high-end rig, it doesn't seem like it would be about money. It would seem like it would be about use case. Like, you're not going to use it enough. A console gamer, somebody said something here, what'd you say? And a console gamer might not spend thousands of dollars in a bunch of $6 indies. It's true. It's true. I mean, yeah. I did do a poll. I said, where will you be playing Crimson Desert? PC. Now, I do have a pretty sizable PlayStation audience here, but you can see, we also have PC. Xbox audience, obviously waning a little bit, understandably, and 26% are not. So the majority will be playing this on a PS5 or a Pro. Playing a Pokemon for bad observation isn't exactly a good example. What, is that not a Nintendo exclusive? Like, again, I feel like he was setting up a false dichotomy. Like, well, Nintendo cares about making great games, not graphics. And it's like, yeah, but there's been a handful of games that have come out and haven't run very well over there. Why are we talking about PC gaming being affordable in any manner? I don't think he was talking about it being affordable. I think he was talking about not being able to justify the purchase of the PlayStation. Those are different topics and categories entirely. Control, not a Souls-like, push-forward, action-driven, aggressive playstyle action game. Not quite Ninja Gaiden, but more Devil May Cry Bayonetta. Updated Northlight engine, more enemies, enhanced draw distance, aiming for solid 60 FPS on all platforms. Manhattan divided into unique zones, improved map design over the first game. Each zone has its own visual variety, lore, and secrets. Architecture warps, gravity fractures, twisting streets. Zoe's a new character, and Dylan's as his handler. Seamless convos with dialogue choices unfold while out exploring. No multiple endings. Not open world where a big map causes anxiety. Less is more. Goal isn't to clear the map, it's to explore. The main campaign is Dylan's journey. There'll be world quests as well with side stories. The main weapon is a primary and secondary forms with combo enders. Combat pushes momentum and flow in different playstyles. Yeah, Control Resonance sounded really good. If you guys are tuning in for Crimson Desert gameplay, this is only PC footage. We are waiting on console footage. We have been told that Digital Foundry will have console footage. I'm trying to find out when that is. I asked Will Powers that on Twitter. The Gamer is saying that they've played Crimson Desert for 6 hours. They still don't know what it is. That's right. His video at the end here gets very... it's just like the menus. The Gamer says, 1 minute it's a grounded medieval RPG. The next I'm solving cosmic puzzles in the sky. Crimson Desert's a huge and weird with a ton of ideas, maybe too many for its own good. Wolfheart kind of echoed similar sentimentalities about, like, it just doesn't... It seems like it's doing so much that you're almost not really even sure what to do or where, you know what I mean? It was like, I don't know. It seems like there is some concern about that. So, we shall see. I'm checking the news feeds now to see if there's any other... Marathon will be live tomorrow at 1. We're definitely diving in. I want to see where the game lands day one, how it feels, how it goes. Will Powers is his actual name. Yeah, to be named Will Powers, like it's an amazing name. It really truly is. It's a fabulous name. Crimson Desert supposedly runs at all around 40 to 45 FPS on the PS5. The base PS5 quality mode, big emphasis on quality mode. There should be a performance mode which runs closer to 60. The concern with that logic is, and I like Okami, and I think he does a good job over there on Twitter, you know, reporting on things. My biggest problem with that logic and that reasoning is I just don't agree. We've seen plenty of games have a solid and perfectly fine quality mode, and then the performance mode is dog water. So I don't know. I don't know. It sounds like an 80s prawn name. It does sound a little bit like he's going to be in a video showing up and saying, hey, I'm Will. Will Powers. I'm here to fix your something. I don't know. If Crimson Desert is actually great, I wonder, due to your busy life, do you see yourself completing this game? Looks like it's gigantic. Do you prefer long games over shorter ones? It's a really interesting situation, and I appreciate your question. I really struggle with long games right now. I really do. Once a game gets beyond 20 to 25 hours, once you get past 20, 25 hours, I'm like, I'm kind of ready to be done. Once you get past 30 to 35 hours, now I'm like, okay, let's wrap this up. So this game, I think a straight through play is like 50 to 60. I think that's what we've heard. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's what I've heard. Yeah, that's a little concerning, you know? That's a little concerning. It's like, I don't know. That guy's name is Gay. He's 45. He was arrested on December for charges including possession of burglary. Yeah. His name is also Gay. Like, I mean, literally, I'm not saying his name is Gay. I'm saying his name is Gay. Does that make sense? Just to clear that up. Korean YouTubers did tests with normal PS5, not the Pro, and the graphics were great and consistent 40 to 45 frames. We'll see. Blue Kowaki says, I love the fact that history is once again repeating itself and we're getting console wars exclusivity crap again. How are there console wars? There's not going to be another console really. There'll be a PC for your living room. Hello, are you talking about Division's crazy updates? No. I've not seen anything about it, Jack. I'm not saying his name is Gay. His name is Gay. That's right. Yeah. That'd be a very interesting interview with that guy's like, so why are you gay? And he'd be like, well, my parents named me that. And he's like, but why though? But why? Why are you... Yo, Jack coming in with his prime and bumps the line. Oh, that's not a Han shot first. There we go. 251. 251, boys. This is like a secret boss that Jor Raptor talked about. He got like a hidden boss and then like a cool item from that fight in particular. So I thought that was pretty cool. Y'all stream today? Huh? $7800X3D should last me a while too. Lona, do you think the Chinese market will flock to the new Xbox console? No. I don't think that there is demand for an American-made console PC hybrid in the Chinese market. I could be 100% wrong about this, but you know what I mean? I just don't see it. I don't know if people are going to be like, oh my gosh, Neo Reaper with 23 months over there on purple bumps the line to 252. Guys, check your primes. Check your primes over there on purple. We're trying to get to 750 sub points, and we're at 650. We're about 100 sub points away from our goal, right? We're about 100 sub points away from our goal, so help us with that over there on purple. And then over here on YouTube, we are trying to get to 600 members. So if you've never done a membership on YouTube before, consider hitting the join button. It's $5. We're currently at 509 members. 509 people are paying for their own membership. We're trying to get that to 600, and you can help us with that. Okay. I don't know who you are. You barely use purple. Understandable. If you got Amazon Prime, though, you've got a Prime you can use over there every single month, and we thank those that do. Mark my words, Sony is going to end Xbox hardware next gen. I don't know why you're giving Sony credit for that. I think Microsoft's going to do it, brother. I don't think Sony did anything. I think Sony did a good job. What is purple? The Twitch over there. I'm streaming on Twitch. So if you pay for Amazon Prime, you can watch over there, and you can use your Amazon Prime to support me every single month. It's like I got a normal sub from somebody over there when you do that. So consider doing that every month if you can. Yeah, but I don't think I would say Sony is like ending Xbox hardware. I think Microsoft's going to do a bang-up job of that all on their own. You know, a $10 super chat from Neo Reaper. Marathon fans can stop saying Ark launched around nothing. It launched alongside Battlefield 6, Black Ops 7, Yote, Outer Worlds 2, and Ninja Gaiden 4. Neo Reaper, I saw your comment about that last night, and I thought, you know what's been really interesting in the discussion about Marathon and Ark Raiders? How dishonest everybody's being about Ark Raiders. It's remarkable. It's for dads. It's casual. It's dying. It's losing its players. It launched around nobody. I'm like, what the frick are you talking about? Yo, thank you, Chrono, for the raid. If you guys are watching over there on Purple, I'm going to give Chrono a shout out. Give him a follow. He's on the podcast with me every Friday over there. The gaming roundtable. Sorry, I think everyone's straight. It's the gaming roundtable. It's a podcast every Friday with Ginger, Prime, and Chrono, and they rotate some other people on there as well. And I should be on there this week again. I believe so. I remember people calling Art Game of the Year. Stupid AI Chad Kroger. That's right. That's right. AI Chad Kroger is telling the world that we're gay. And I'm like, I don't think we are. You know? I mean, Chrono's a little teddy bear. He's got that teddy bear vibe going. So maybe he is. Maybe he's all about snuggling with the homies. But I don't know. I think Ginger and I, as far as I know, I mean, we're married men with children. Like, it's, I don't really have any room for those types of relationships in our life. The gay man roundtable, that's right. There's nothing gay about snuggling with the homies. I don't think you could say there's nothing. I don't think you could say there's nothing gay about it. It's a little gay, and it could quickly turn into a lot gay. So you know what I'm saying? I don't think you can say nothing. It's not completely devoid of it. Come on, bro. I said what I said. It's fine. You're going to have a little George Costanza at moved moment, and that's okay. But come on now. I got news for you. That means you're gay. That's right. Oh, my golly. Brooklyn says, MF, what are you talking about? He put it in chat, not me. I didn't put that in chat. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, if you go camping and it's a little cold out and you're just trying to stay warm, it's still in that context. It would be a little bit. It would be a teeny tiny bit. It would. It's okay though. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to survive. Just because it moved doesn't mean you're gay. It just means you have healthy blood flow. Shut up. What is this topic? Crimson Desert gameplay and why it's not on console, and why you shouldn't come out to your parents at Thanksgiving. So, You know, we got a lot going on. Got a lot of topics rotating in and out. Pause. You know, what the frick is this? I'm waiting for a response from Mr. Will Powers. I said concerning Crimson Desert console gameplay, it has been claimed that Digital Foundry will have console gameplay to show, quote, at launch. Is this before release date with the review embargo? We are waiting on a response there. We might not get one. We might not get one. I'm not too sure. We'll see. We'll see if he's active today on socials. He does seem to be very good to reply to people, so that's why I decided to ask him. I'm watching with the volume off now. Well, that's also gay. So, B. Carter with the Prime. Thank you so much. We're at 253. I appreciate that so much. You know, that means you're just watching to look at me. So, thanks so much. Congratulations. You're gay. Got him. Totally got him. I just logicked him there. Who is this person? Share chat. Share hype train. I don't know who this person is that wants to corroborate? No, collaborate. I can't even talk. I don't know who you are. Crimson Desert Early Access. Before release. Streaming together. I'm not sure who you are. So I'm going to have to decline. Broken Earth gifts a member over there on YouTube. Oh, he might be doing it. He's setting it up. There it is. He's setting up the 20 bomb dunker. Listen, if you're going to do it, do it. And we're at 255. We're officially 20. Oh, we will see. You guys will also be at 50. Did my Prime on purple go through? I got a B. Carter Prime. I got I don't see. I got Neo Reaper. I got Jack. I don't see you over there, brother. When are you and Colin going to have a collab? Crimson Desert review codes are officially in the wild 2 weeks. There we go. I don't know. I'm going to have to probably make things right with Maddie Plays if I'm ever going to do anything with Colin. So I'm waiting on that. There's a potential door opening there. I did a podcast that I'm kind of waiting for them for some people to publish that might open some bridges back up. Eldest One with the Prime gets us to 256. Thank you so much, Eldest One. Muffin the Bunny says, I'm a gamer. I mean, with that avatar and that name, I don't think you needed to tell us. I think we knew. You know what I'm saying? I think we know. You cool with Jaffe? It doesn't have anything to do with Jaffe. I mean, Jaffe could certainly get me a warm handshake, but you know, that's a big group over there. Last Stand and Maddie and Colin and all those guys. And yeah, when that clip came out and Maddie said what he said about, you know, getting the bad news ahead of time, I probably should have handled that better than I did and just asked questions instead of assuming. I should have been like, what does this mean? You know? I want to start taking that posture with people because, like, you know, people don't do that with me. They see a clip and they assume, and I did the same thing, which wasn't fair to Maddie, and I should have been like, hey, what the heck does this clip mean, Maddie? I don't know what you're saying here. Warm handshake, kind of gay. Yeah, very. Yeah. Well, I put a question, not sure if you're doing them today. I mean, I'll answer it. I'm not going to put it on the screen, though. Yo, Chrono, thank you so much for raiding over there on YouTube as well. What did you say here? Do you think Crimson Desert could have an impact on high-end console PC gamers and Zelda Breath of the Wild had on Nintendo? I don't understand your question. Can you qualify it more? I don't understand what you're saying to me. Wheezy says no. He apparently, you know. I mean, I don't know, Lennon. I'm not gonna go on a tour with people. But you know. Maddie's Mr. Neutral. Yeah. I felt like with Maddie, I was reckless and I could have been more careful. Other people, there's people in these spaces that have taken it upon themselves to, you know, say things that aren't true about me or to spread things that aren't true or to engage with content with the intent to harm. I have nothing to say to those people if that's what they're going to do. I'm not trying to be friends with every person in the world. You know, there have been lines that have been crossed, and I think if people want to make things right, that's fine, but I'm not extending anything to some people unless they initiate first. Hot shot with 2 months. There it is. There's your prime hot shot. 257. There we go. What happened with Maddie? There was a clip of Maddie talking with Lord Cognito. They were doing a podcast together. And Maddie said something to the effect of, you know, Xbox will give us the bad news first so we can soften the blow. And it raised my hackles. I was like, what the frick? Why would they be doing that? And I made a tweet about that being astroturfing. Instead of being like, hey, I really respect you, Maddie. What the heck do you mean by this? Because I've watched Maddie's content for a long time. I gave him a lot of praise for how he handled the Redfall situation. I praised him for how he handled the recent situation where he was calling out Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond for ducking and covering when the bad news comes out. I mean, I think he even used the word cowardice. You know, I had a lot of praise for him. I have a lot of respect for him. And, you know, I just could have handled it in a more professional way. And I think when I made that tweet and said what I said, you know, I think that was bothersome. That was upsetting. And, you know, that's a wild take, though. I think there's a distinct difference between knowing, like, oh, there's a price change coming and being given talking points. I don't think he was ever given talking points. I don't think he was ever told what to say, but he might have known, like, oh, there's a price increase coming. Yeah, that's going to suck. People are going to be mad. That's not the same as being like, hey, we're going to make this change. We need you guys to make it sound good. Those are two completely different things. Yeah, Defining Dukes, the podcast. Yeah. You resub 10 months. I shouted you out, Eldest One. Thank you so much for that resub. I appreciate that, hotshot. Thank you. So, think about it. When I covered Destiny, I could say, yeah, sometimes Bungie would let me know that there were changes coming so I could, you know, I could be there to talk to you guys about it. Obviously, the phrasing wasn't great because he said something about, like, you know, softening the blow or whatever. And it's like, well, why would you care about that? Why would you care about softening the blow? Unless, of course, you're, like, couching it in, like, just wanting the community to not be losing their dadgum minds, right? It was just the phrasing, and I should have just asked for clarification, been like, what the heck do you mean? Can you give us an example of a time where this happened? And if he'd have been like, well, there was a time we knew there was a price increase coming, well, then you would know, like, okay, well, did you do any, like, positive spin on that? Did you cover that in a really weird way? And we would say, no, he didn't. Like, you see the difference? Like, I think there's a distinct difference between, like, oh, we got bad news ahead of time, and, you know, so sometimes we know these things are coming, and that's not the same as being told what to say. Like, hey, here's access. We need you to cover it in this way. Yo, Force of Will, thank you so much for renewing your membership. Your Member Plus, I appreciate that. I don't care. I don't get why people care about the base console performance. It's not going to be as good as an upgraded equipment. It's time to upgrade. Well, I think people care about the base console performance because there's way more base consoles in circulation, brother. Like, there's way more people on a PS5 than a PS5 Pro, so those consumers have every right to be like, hey, how does it perform on the base PS5? So it burns less. I just think I've reflected a lot about how I handled some of those situations back then, and I think I got very caged animal, and I got very like everyone's my enemy, and everyone's an astroturfer, and, you know, I think that there were opportunities where I could have handled things maybe in just a more diplomatic, professional way to be like, hey, this sounds kind of funny. Can you explain what you mean here? And give somebody the opportunity to explain themselves. If he would have come out and explained himself, and I'd have been like, oh, that's not that big of a deal. That was really poor phrasing on your part, right? If he would have come out and explained himself and like, oh no, yeah, they give us bad news all the time, so that way we can make it sound less bad, I'd be like, yeah, that's not really appropriate. That's not how a relationship like that should go. You see what I'm saying? You give the person an opportunity to explain what in the heck they meant and what in the world they're talking about. Instead of reacting to a 10-second clip or however long it was like a 20 or 30-second clip. Like, I sadly fell victim to the same thing that people do to me all the time. They see a clip and they think they know what's going on, or the clip's been false framed or intentionally, made very short. A guy did it to me the other day. And I was like, yeah, I mentioned the shareholders. Do you see what I'm saying? He acted like, he'll believe anything if but doesn't care if the shareholders haven't said anything. And I literally acknowledged that in the first 2.5 minutes in the broadcast, that like, we won't know that this is official from PlayStation until they acknowledge it in the shareholders meeting. I literally say that in the first 2 minutes of the show. So, yeah, if I want to be treated in that way, if I want people to give me a fair shake and to come ask me questions or ask for my full nuanced position on something, I should have afforded Maddie the same respect, and I just didn't do that. I should have. If he comes to the table and he explains it and I still don't like what I'm hearing, I could have said, yeah, I don't really like that. I don't think that should be going on. And that would just be my opinion. Instead of making it seem like, oh, these guys are over here astroturfing. And they're like, no, we're not. What the frick are you talking about? Do you see where I went wrong? You're playing Resident Evil at the moment. Yes. Anything you're looking forward to aside from Crimson Desert? I'm looking forward to Saros, and I'm looking forward to Control Resonant, and I'm looking forward to Wolverine. Those are some of the ones off the top of my head. Yes. What's the overall verdict on Crimson Desert? I still say, Phantom Blade Zero is another one I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Crimson Desert. I'm just telling people, I'm advising caution, and I'm saying don't pre-order because we still don't have console gameplay. We're being told we'll have console gameplay from Digital Foundry. Okay, we'll wait and see what that means. We'll have to wait and see when that hits, and we'll have to wait and see what it looks like. So, did he just do a DDT to a random farmer peasant lady? Yes, he did. She stole a stick of butter, and that's the punishment. So, you know what I mean? He's going to give somebody else a stone cold stun later on because they didn't properly weed their garden. Much respect for you acknowledging your mistakes. I hope that the podcast I did can come out because I've just done a lot of reflection on like how the last couple of years have gone and how there were definitely people that drew first blood and then wanted to act like I had no right to respond, which I thought was kind of ridiculous. But I also think there were people that got caught in the crossfire. There was definitely a lot of friendly fire, and I made myself very unlikable and very unwelcomed in an environment where there's already people that think that about me anyway because of the past, even though the past is mostly BS. But take my butter, get these hands. That's right, dude. Possession's 9/10 of the law. So I'm gonna give you 9/10 of this fist. You think the embargo being the day before release is a bad sign? Not only is it the day before, it's like late in the day. It's like 5 o'clock Eastern evening. So, unlikable just means you're probably too honest for the faint of heart. Well, something I've been trying to put into practice after I listened to the the biography of somebody that I really respect, and I thought he was a great orator and a great debater. He talked about being disagreeing without being disagreeable. And, sometimes I'm a little bit too passionate for my own good. I'm a little bit too sharp-tongued for my own good. So, being unlikable and unwelcome is a selling point of yours, in my opinion. I wouldn't say that's a good selling point, brother. You want to do podcasts and collaborate with people, you can't be walking around here, smacking everybody on the mouth, acting like that's just who I am. It's not a good policy. It's also not in line with the way I want to live my life. Like, it's not in line with my beliefs and my worldview. Like, I don't want to be like that. That's not how I am in my normal life. Do you know what I'm saying? That's not me. It's like it was a very in my feels ego reactionary, way to behave, and I'm, every day trying to be a little bit better about that. It's really hard when you feel like the entire world's coming after you, and it happened before. The podcast that I did really kind of contextualizes. It doesn't excuse. It doesn't make excuses. It just contextualizes. Like, why would this guy react this way? Why would this guy get so, upset? Why would he get so, why would he get so harsh or whatever the frick? We just watched this one. Watch this one. And it's like, well, when it feels like the whole world's coming after you and you've already experienced that, you're just going to, you're going to get really prickly and defensive. What's astroturfing? So astroturf is fake grass. And astroturfing is when you organize like fake grassroots movements and you try to make it seem organic. So, it would be like if you went to a bunch of influencers and told them to talk about like the Xbox One and talk about how great it was, and they were paid to say it. And everybody's like, man, all these YouTubers are saying how great it is. And they weren't divulging that they were being paid. That's called astroturfing. That's something that Xbox actually did during the Xbox One era. Can you tell us what podcast you're talking about or no? I'm not going to talk about who it is because they're looking into how they want to publish it because they had plans. Those plans had to change, so we'll have to just see. Why do I keep getting these chainsaw clips from Lono on YouTube? Because if you fail in a game now, that's content for people. Like if you do a bad job in a moment in a game, that's content. So I obviously messed up and made mistakes, but then there were also things in the encounter that weren't working properly. Like there's multiple times where like it just won't let me pick it up and you're supposed to be able to. It literally teleports. It literally teleports in the encounter. Like it's in front of me, it disappears, and it's in the other room all of a sudden. But that's content now. Like if you do a bad job in an exchange, that's content. So people are watching me pretty much anytime I'm playing a game, and anytime I have a hard time or I mess up or fail, it'll get clipped and put into videos. It's just kind of the nature of the business. Being off-putting isn't exactly inviting. Some people like a straight shooter. But there's a difference between being a straight shooter and being like belligerent. You know what I mean? Chainsaw clips, what's that? In Resident Evil 9, when you first get to play as Leon, not in the beginning. In the beginning, you're in like a street with your gun, and it's awesome. And that part, I had a great time. There's a sequence with the chainsaw where like the chainsaw drops on the ground, and you're supposed to wait for it to stop spinning to pick up. Multiple times, like it wasn't spinning and it wouldn't let me pick it up. There's supposed to be like a little icon that appears. And the first couple of times I did it, I thought there was urgency to grab it. So this is what I thought. I thought, oh, you're supposed to run up to it and grab it before it starts spinning. Because there were times where it wouldn't be spinning and then it would start spinning. So I thought, oh, it's telegraphing urgency. Like, hey, you better get there before it starts spinning because when it spins, it's going to hit your ankles, right? So I misread it and thought, oh, I'm supposed to get there in the moments before it starts spinning. And people are like, no, you're supposed to wait. You're supposed to wait. And I was like, yeah, but there were multiple times I killed the guy, it dropped on the ground, and it just sat there. So it wasn't consistent. So because the mechanic wasn't consistent, I misread it and was trying to grab it too early. There were multiple times where it would drop on the ground, it would sit there, and it would not let me grab it. It would just straight up not do it. The little icon wouldn't show up anything. And there's one time where it even like, it teleported. It teleports in the other room. with the chick that's in there that's like waiting for you or whatever. She's like coming through the door. And so there's a group of folks that love to spread the idea that I'm a tourist and bad at games, and so it got clipped and put into content, and they're all brigading my video. I love that they think that I'm like they just happen to go to an hour and 50 minutes into my broadcast to get to that moment. Like they just all happen to go to that point on their own. It's like, I'm so certain that you found Resident Evil gameplay on YouTube and skipped to the 1 hour and 50 mark to watch me struggle in a chainsaw encounter. You missed the part where when I first got introduced to Leon, I did great and had a great time. You know, you'll miss all those sections, but we're going to skip to this part. It's just, you know, it's just brigading behavior that people do these days when you fail in an encounter in something. It's very common these days. Getting to use a chainsaw was fun. It was. You're playing a new game and learning how to play it? Yes. The chainsaw teleporting is weird. Yeah. There's been a couple of times where I'm like, I don't know if you want me to use my weapons or not. And so you just kind of wait and see. And then you're like, oh, okay, it wants me to use my weapon. Oh, it doesn't want me to use my weapon. It wants me to you know, save my ammo. That's just the kind of game that it is. You kind of have to feel it out sometimes to see, like, wait, what's it want me to do here? Is it a blatant boss fight or is it a cut and run fight? So sometimes you just have to kind of like read the room, read the landscape to know, like, wait, what does it want me to do right now? And if you mess up and misread the telegraph or you fail, there are people that will clip it and be like, look at this, you know, this guy needs journalist difficulty or whatever. I am 44 with 2 children. I don't really get an ego about being good at video games. That hasn't mattered to me for a long time. I don't care. It's just a really easy way to make content. Prove you're not a tourist. Beat Elden Ring with no armor. So what's your conclusion from the reviews? My conclusion on Crimson Desert is we don't have reviews yet. We have previews, and it sounds promising but very broad. It sounds like the depth of combat and controls might actually be a little bit confusing for people, at least initially. And it sounds like there's just going to be a lot to do. Can Wolverine go multiplat because of Disney? I don't think so. I mean, it obviously could, but I don't think Disney's going to push for that. I think in these deals, there's a contract, there's an agreement, there's a release schedule, and all that, you know, moves forward. I don't think Disney's going to like crack the whip and be like, hey, make that a multiplat. So maybe Wolvie will be the first no PC release. We don't know what Sony's doing now. We actually do. Jason Schreier released his article. He said that both Saros and Ghost of Yote coming to PC was canceled, and that going forward, they're not doing it anymore. So, I don't know if Disney's going to walk in the room and demand that Wolverine go to PC. I don't know if Disney can even do that, let alone care. I don't know. Disney can get a little funny. I mean, we know they wanted a new Star Wars game every 6 months. Excuse me. I know that, you know, we know that they, you know, they wanted a new Star Wars game every 6 months, and we know how that went. I don't understand this clip. You can shoot enemies and dodge, also shoot walls and then dodge. 10-second mark. I don't understand. Is this supposed to be like a joke? In Saros, you don't just shoot enemies and dodge. You can also shoot at walls and then dodge. Oh, yeah, it's a joke. I was like, I don't understand. I'm not seeing any new mechanics here. Indiana Jones was originally supposed to be exclusive, but Microsoft changed the deal. It was going to be... I thought it went through 3 changes. Wasn't Indiana Jones going to be multi-plat? Microsoft went renegotiated to make it exclusive, and then obviously they've since changed their idea on that as well. Does this mean Spider-Man is not coming to Xbox or the whole slate to PC? Yeah, it looks that way. It looks like everybody's saying that, like, this is where the industry's going and exclusives are dying. It looks like that prediction was false, as we've always said it was false. It was a bad faith prediction to begin with, because it wasn't that exclusives were going away. It was that PlayStation had a particular goal in mind with taking their tentpole titles to PC. All that bad faith argumentation is not just in tatters on the ground. It's been absolutely scorched from the earth. It was such a bad faith argument. It was like they had a particular strategy in taking their big single player games to PC. That strategy did not yield strong enough results to continue doing it, so they've stopped. This definitively proves everybody's read of that situation was willfully ignorant, and it was a forced narrative. It was so bad faith, it was so misleading. It's like they're not doing the same thing Xbox is doing. They're not eroding the idea of exclusivity. They are going to that market in efforts of getting conversion. And when that didn't yield the results they wanted, they're not doing it anymore. That narrative is not just dead. It has been scorched from the earth. It was dumb when it was said, and now it's been proven to be. It's like, I don't know why anybody would cling to that. Like, that reporting and that coverage and all that back then, it drove me crazy. It absolutely drove me crazy. And the reason that it drove me crazy is it was like, you can have your opinions on exclusives. You can. You can have your own opinion on exclusives. You can have your opinion on how things, should go. But quit telling people things that are just willfully not representative of what's going on. It was so irritating. It's like people don't see the difference between like, oh, I hope there's no more exclusives. That's fine. You can hope that. I would like it if there were no more exclusives. Great. You can go have lunch with Satya and Adela, and you and him will be best friends. You can have that opinion. But stop telling people that, like, yep, exclusives are going away, no more exclusives, when PlayStation's like, yeah, we'll take some of our tentpole titles to PC, 18 to 36 months later. And you're like, yep, see, exclusives are a thing of the past. And it's like, that is so bad faith. That is so dishonest. Like, stop. That at some level, that's the only reason I'm glad about this. I wanted people to enjoy Soros on PC. I wanted people to enjoy Yote on PC. The only good that comes from this, in my opinion, this is my opinion, the only good that comes from this is it murders that nonsense narrative that people kept shoveling. It's dead, and we don't have to hear it anymore. It was so tiring. It was so bad faith. It drove me crazy. You can have your opinions. That's fine. You can like or dislike exclusives. You can. But man, oh man, it was insane to me, the level of nonsense we had to listen to back then. I was trying to figure out if we were getting, I feel like we are. I was looking at the footage on Twitch. It was looking a little stuttery. Eugene says Tsushima sold so well too. Just proves that it didn't move the needle. I'm glad that they're protecting the console ecosystem. What do you mean it sold so well? Spider-Man 2 sold 16 million units on PS5 and over 700,000 on Steam, with the PS5 version maintaining a strong, consistent, and profitable performance, adding 100 to 200,000 copies monthly. PC performance, while lower due to a rocky launch and diminishing returns, still generated over 32 million in revenue. It's also a sequel. Ghost of Tsushima was 4 years later. They know better than everyone. It's also a sequel. Yeah, Spider-Man 2 was a sequel. The sequels all performed not as good. Oh, he's getting confused on the puzzle here, and he's fast forwarding. I was like, why is it going fast all of a sudden? The other interesting thing is the narrative that you automatically make more money, and they were clearly making money from putting it over there, but that's not the be-all, end-all determining factor. You know what I'm saying? It's not the be-all, end-all. It's like people kept making it about that. If you put games everywhere, you make more money, and it's like PlayStation's willingly walking away from millions of dollars that they make on games when they sell them on PC. They're willingly walking away from it. Estimates for Ghost were like 1 million in the first week. It broke Sony records for a concurrent launch. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I remember it did very, very well. Again, I'm here to tell you, everybody oversimplified it. They're like, well, you make more money. And it's like, there's so much more at play than just that. They're willingly walking away from millions of dollars because they're like, we were seeing diminishing returns, especially on the sequels. We were probably seeing diminishing returns of people actually converting and buying PlayStations. I think initially it worked. Initially it worked and it did the thing that they wanted it to do. And then I think over time they saw diminishing returns and they thought, yeah, no, let's stop doing this. If you guys are just tuning in, we've been watching Crimson Desert gameplay. A bunch of people went to a preview event. We are still waiting on console gameplay. We do not have console gameplay. We apparently will get console gameplay from Digital Foundry. But we don't know when that video will hit. I don't think this is true. Cold Eastwood is saying PlayStation can't legally block their games from Xbox Magnus on Steam. This was Plan B. PlayStation sees Xbox as direct competition. I don't think that that's true. I don't think there's any legality involved. They block entire regions from buying their games. Right? I don't think there's legality involved, is there? I don't think that that's accurate. I think they could 100% be like, yeah, we don't want our game over there. What law would stop them from doing it? What legality would be involved? I'm genuinely asking. Like, is that an accurate statement? He thinks there'll be a Magnus? It looks like the Magnus is still going forward. There's like leaked AMD stuff today. Isn't there brand new stuff from Moore's Law is Dead? Antitrust? Antitrust would have nothing to do with it. Antitrust is about like monopoly, anti-competitive behavior, not about blocking something from playing on a piece of hardware. I don't think there's any legality at all. That officially takes the number one spot for the dumbest crap that I've heard said out loud in 2026. Sony blocks stuff from Sony accounts. Why can't they block other platforms? Lisa Sue herself said that. About what? The AMD thing? About Magnus? I think what he's saying is not accurate. I don't think that that's true. If he could expound on the legality, I don't understand. There's no legality as far as I understand it. You can block something from being somewhere if you want. Sony blocks entire countries. That's what I mean. They region block entire countries. I mean, I don't know what kind of legality you would claim. Yeah, Cole, we don't need to throw around insults. We can just engage with what he said. I'm engaging with what he said. There's no reason to insult anybody. Ubisoft has officially teased the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake. In a new blog post, they note some whispers have a little more wind in their sails. Keep your spyglass on the horizon. There you go. Didn't Apple get in trouble for blocking Epic? That was a completely different debate. That was not a debate about that. That was a storefront debate with respect to. I don't think that's the same as saying like, oh, we don't want this to run on this hardware because that's our competitor. That'd be like saying it's illegal for HBO to not allow Game of Thrones to be shown on NBC. No, that's not the same. It would be like HBO not allowing their shows to run on a Samsung television or something. Like if HBO had some kind of a deal with Sony, and there was a Sony HBO app that you could install on your Sony smart television and you could watch a show, and you couldn't watch it on other TVs for a period of time. As you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if there's legality there. I feel like they could do that if they wanted. Now, I don't think they would do that. I don't think there would be a TV show in existence that would accept those terms. But I'm fairly certain that you could. Sorry I'm late. I still plan on watching the uploads, but what's the news? Okay, the news on Crimson Desert gameplay on PS5 or Xbox. The current word on the street is from Cowboy himself. Fighting Cowboy himself has indicated that the console gameplay hasn't been put out because we wouldn't believe it if we saw it. It's going to be given to Digital Foundry, and Digital Foundry will put out the video. PlayStation is going multi-platform as it follows Microsoft and more correctly the money into the future. Notice the Pony Media isn't chiming in on this. When was this? Oh, was that sit down with Herman Holst? Oh gosh, that was so painful. I remember that. That was so painful. People were willfully misinterpreting his words then. That was like when everybody went crazy over the job posting. I was like, oh gosh. That was back when I said, if they're going to do that level of change, it'll be marked and said at a shareholders meeting. It won't be vaguely referred to in a job posting. It won't. Did you see the Nickelodeon Cartoon Network merger? I did not. MLB does regional blackouts on broadcast. Songs can certainly restrict where their crap is sold. That's what I mean. I don't think there's legality involved. I think he's incorrect. You know, I'm just respectfully disagreeing. I'm not saying anything more than that. Didn't Sony try to have this game as a timed exclusive? They did. I'm not surprised that Crimson Desert shut them down because I'm not surprised they shut them down because it's clearly built for PC first. Like, they were not going to do a timed exclusive at all. Almost 12 years old. Why bother? Oh, Assassin's Creed Unity is getting a 60 FPS patch for PS5 and Series X and S on March the 5th. I mean, what do you mean, why bother? Unity's hailed as the one with the best parkour in the entire series. He went on to say, even worse, they've insulted their entire live service games catalog by saying, you're not important enough to push console sales. I mean, again, that feels like a complete misread of what live service games are about. Live service games function on a need a full funnel basis. Right? You need a full funnel. Live service games are not meant to push the console. Single player tentpole titles are meant to push the console. It's not an insult. They have different purposes. They have different functions. Like, Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls is not meant to be like a console mover. It's meant to be a live service game. It's meant to be a game where you get as many people in as possible. So that game is not insulted by being multi-platform. There are also deals with games like Kane and Bridge of Spirits sequel and others that are going to be on PC because it's not a PlayStation first-party studio. It's a company that they are assisting with the publishing. There's also the China Hero project. To say that these games are insulted because, you know, they're no longer, because they're still landing on PC and they're not exclusive, I don't think that that's true at all. I don't think the games are insulted. I think those games have particular purposes within the market and particular purposes within the business strategy of Sony. Yeah, clocks are going forward. It's spring forward, fall back. So when you go into spring, you spring forward. So this game is single player. Yes, this game is single player. I don't think anybody had tons of footage of the other characters. I think they played as Kliff the whole time. There's two other characters that you can play as, a girl and like an orc or something. Not an orc, is it an orc? Anything about base PS5 performance? No. We have been told that there were some Korean streamers that apparently are saying the quality mode on the base PS5 gets like 45 frames on average, and that's the quality mode. So we're waiting. They said that Crimson Desert PS5 footage, if you're looking for gameplay on PS5, you're going to have to wait for Digital Foundry to push out the video. That's who's been given console footage. What's actually interesting to me is they're only sending out PC codes. But Digital Foundry apparently is getting a console code. I don't really understand that. If what I've been told is true, you can't, if you're requesting review access to this game, you can only get PC, but they're going to give console codes to Digital Foundry. I don't know. Allegedly, FromSoft shot down the Bloodborne remake in Blue Point before they were axed by Sony. Yes, I have a video on that. I reported on that, and we uploaded it on Sunday. I mean, I didn't report on it. I covered it. Other people broke the story. Schreier from Bloomberg broke the story. Why the exclusivity for them? I don't know. Fighting Cowboy said that he was told that it looked so good on console, nobody would believe them. And that's why they're going to give it to Digital Foundry. I don't know why you wouldn't give it to a bunch of other people as well. Like if somebody was asking for review access on PS5, like why wouldn't you give them access? 45 FPS is bad. 45 FPS on the base PS5 is not bad for quality mode, no. Being given console footage would not be the same as console access. That's not what he said, though. He said... Here, let's just listen to what he said.
A little bit about the graphics and the performance. I think it's no surprise the graphics for this game are just absolutely insane. I think probably one of the biggest things that stood out to me, though, was in the night sections. The way lighting works in this game is pretty insane. Like, the lantern is your best friend. Shadows are cast super far. You're not seeing far in the dark. Like, to the point where I'm like, I almost hope there's, like, some upgrades, because there was a section where I was wandering out at night, and, like, I could barely tell where I was going. I was just like, bro, I'm stumbling through the dark. I'm lost. I don't know what to do. In terms of performance, we were playing on some AMD setups. I'm not sure exactly what card, but the game was running smooth like butter. And they had it running in ultra-wide. I had a lot of people ask that. I did ask about console performance, since all the footage, including my own, up till now has been PC. And the answer I got from them was actually pretty respectable. They said that regardless of what we say, people probably won't believe us. So instead, we are sending the game to Digital Foundry, and they'll have a full analysis of performance across all the platforms at launch. So if you're curious about performance, definitely keep your eye out for that.
Here I said it.
If we won't believe us. So instead, we are sending the game to Digital Foundry, and they'll have a full analysis of performance across all the platforms at launch.
So he says they're sending the game to Digital Foundry. Not footage, they're sending the game to Digital Foundry. So, yeah. Again, it sounds like a good answer. It, to me, could be very promising. But it's also like... at launch was the other phrasing that he used. I'm just not sure. Like, what does that mean? That's why I'm asking on Twitter, like, hey... Could we get a clarification here? People want console footage before they buy your game, and you're going to make us go to Digital Foundry for it. Well, when is that going to hit? Is it going to hit with the review embargo, or is it going to hit later? Does that make sense? Like, and this is what I said earlier. At first, when I heard that, I thought, you know what, that's good, because I wouldn't believe anything that you showed me. But the general public would. If you uploaded a trailer right now to PlayStation and said all of this footage was captured on a PS5 or a PS5 Pro, the average consumer would be like, that looks great. I can't believe it looks that good on console. Now, the rest of us would be like, well, that could be a vertical slice. They could be playing games. Until I've got the game in my hands, I'm still skeptical, right? Again, from a marketing perspective, I don't know why you would say that. Well, nobody will believe us, so we sent 30 minutes of PC footage to the PlayStation channel that everyone's universal response was, this looks too good to be true. Like, do you see what I'm saying? It just, the whole thing just continues to sound weird to me. It's like, okay, I really, really hope that what you're saying is true and that the game is just going to be mind-blowing on console, and you've had these insane breakthroughs with the engine and optimization. And yeah, I will have confetti ready to go if this thing runs really, really good and, you know, runs smooth and doesn't have any major problems. Like, I'm not talking about, like, if it has a single bug, I'm going to be, hypercritical or something. You know. No pre-orders, were being lied to. It's everything about it makes my spidey sense tingle. So I'm still encouraging people to not pre-order. There's a video game coming out called Karen. The mall denied your refund. Now you're going to make them pay with slaps, shoves, and sheer entitlement. This is the physics-driven rage simulator where you get to do way more than speak to the manager. It's absolutely stupid. Wishlist it? No. Black Myth is still a mess on console. Here, I'm going to let's do this. I'm going to put up a gameplay trailer, because I'm going to take a really, really quick break, but I don't want to have somebody else's content up if I'm taking a break and not commentating. So this is just a trailer. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Poor Boy says, why are they being so weird when asked about console performance? Just say it. Yeah, this is a trailer, so yeah, I'll close it. There was a PlayStation blog about it. They went hands-on, but again, they played the PC version. They are saying, if you scroll down all the way to the bottom here, they are saying that, you know, they're going to leverage the PlayStation 5 and PS5 Pro to help deliver some impressive visuals, particularly at long distances. The PS5's SSD is key for streaming the huge world for a start, and developers will make heavy use of the PS5 Pro's high CPU frequency mode. It also speaks here, they've optimized it for the PS5 through a number of features to help maintain all the detail at its large scale, making use of the geometry shader, oversubscription, and NGG culling to render lots of elements without losing detail. On the PS5 Pro, the recent upgrade to PSSR makes it possible for Crimson Desert to hit 4K resolutions at higher frame rates, and its ray tracing capabilities make lighting effects more realistic and natural. So they've been told like that this is how this is going to work. So that, you know, that's great. You know, through a number of features to help maintain all the detail, making use of geometry shader over subscription and NGG culling to render lots of elements without losing detail. Okay. All right. Oh, the coffee fell down. And thank you to everybody who has been ordering the coffee. We shipped a bunch of it out. We shipped a bunch of it out a couple of days ago, I think. Yeah. Has 191 says, sheesh, get wrecked. What do you mean get wrecked? What are you talking about? Oh, were you reacting to footage? I wasn't even watching the footage. I was just reading. Why am I base building? Why am I picking vegetables? Just explain how these mechanics actually interact. Yeah, I mean, I will admit that a lot of the features feel, you know, a little separated, little truncated. You know. PlayStation's top downloads. Okay. PlayStation Store top downloads. Resident Evil was both number 1 in both NA and EU. I was kind of curious to see if the Marathon Server Slam would be in that list. It's not. Like, I was kind of curious if like it kind of popped off and had a lot of downloads on PlayStation. I mean, they had what, 2 full day? Thursday, they had Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. All would have counted. Will is back. Excellent news. Massively excited to share that our friend and colleague Will Judd will be returning. Is that his name? Thanks for answering my question. I'm a bit skeptical due to all the hidden doors of this game. Too many loopholes. Should there be a concern something's happening at IGN? They just did a bunch of downsizing. What do you mean? Didn't they lay a bunch of people off recently? I swear I saw that reported. People complain about FF16 having pointless side quests, so I expect similar energy with Crimson Desert. I don't remember people complaining about that, but yeah, I mean, I thought the FF16 side quests were fine. I thought it added, you know, color and substance to the game. So IGN bought like 70% of the competition. Nothing to see here. I like the combat. I remember the first thing that stood out to me about Crimson Desert was the combat. I did. I thought that was like the first thing that looked really, really cool. It looked insane to me. It looked insane. He was like fighting like a big guy in like it was like obviously like a circular, arena area. And yeah, I was impressed. I was like, wow. That's weird. Oh, that was probably like at the very, very beginning. He must have been FF7 Rebirth. That game is packed with BS. Like, I don't remember people complaining about that with FF16. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I don't remember people saying that. Yeah, I remember seeing these predictions. You'll be seeing PlayStation 10 pull titles go day and date to Steam and PC and competing platforms. That was a good one. That was another great prediction. Guys, Ben stars in another game. It's called Solasta. Or Solasta? Solasta, how do you say it? It is a turn-based tactical RPG. I mean, we're kind of getting to that point where they're just like, put Ben Starr in it. I mean, I like him. He's great. He's a good voice actor. He's charming. He's handsome. He's very funny. You put him in like every game, right? They're like, hey, maybe when he auditioned to be Kirby, we should have taken that more seriously. Let him be Kirby. Yo, what's good, Ristic? I'm looking forward to the open world aspect of the game. I mean, I am as well. I think the only thing that kind of like gives me pause about Crimson Desert is it's going to be really, really long as a game, That's just a very, very long game. So it's like, hopefully I can roll credits on it. Like, I struggle with games once they get past about 30 hours. Like, I do. I just struggle. The list of games that did not have Ben Starr is shrinking. This is true. I wonder who decided at PlayStation that PC ports were out. Well, I don't think it's like a single person hotshot. I think, again, and this is why everybody that, because people are saying it's Hideaki Nishino. It's not just Nishino, though. It's more than likely something that they knew they would do if they didn't get the results that they wanted. I kept telling people that didn't like it or that were angry. I said, go back and listen to what they said. They're doing this in order to get new user acquisition. They wanted more people on PlayStation. The entire strategy was about the console. This is why I told people, stop buying into these bad faith, people that are arguing from I think was like a dishonest position. I think they were dishonest, and we're like, oh yeah, this is clearly them going third party. They're clearly going to put games day and date. And I was like, no, they're not. There's no indication that they're going to do that. Their strategy was never, we need to maximize revenue of every single IP. The strategy was, this will potentially draw people to the platform. As that stopped happening or wasn't happening well enough, they decided, kill it. This isn't working. The reason they greenlit so many ports is because the first couple that they did really well, And I think there were a lot of people, we have people in this community, we're not a very big community within the grand scheme of the global gaming audience. We're very, very teeny tiny. We had people in this community who bought PlayStations because they wanted to play God of War Ragnarok or Horizon Forbidden West. They didn't want to wait. To them, $450 was a no-brainer. It was like $450 for a digital, PlayStation, and I can play the sequel to a game that I've already really enjoyed the first game, right? I think those first couple of games, it went really, really well. And then I remember we all remarked that, like, God of War Ragnarok performed markedly lower than God of War 2018 on PC. And it was like, gee, I wonder what happened. People speculated. They said maybe the novelty wore off. People speculated. They're like, well, maybe people went and bought a PlayStation to play the sequel. And they're like, I don't need it on PC now. There was a whole lot of speculation at the time as to why it was slowing down. Somebody at PlayStation ran the numbers and said, this isn't worth doing anymore. That's why you can go back and you can watch all of the analysis that I did on this. And then you can watch all of the analysis from the people that kept insisting that they were going to be putting everything over day and date. And I think my analysis was more accurate because it was about what PlayStation said as opposed to projecting Microsoft's strategy onto PlayStation. One was basic face value analysis of what Herman Hulst had said and what PlayStation was saying. Face value analysis. This is what they're saying. Other people were projecting onto PlayStation what they were hoping was going on. They wanted PlayStation to do the same thing that Xbox was doing because they were mad Xbox did it, and their hope was that PlayStation would do the same thing. That's where the coverage came from. That's where the predictions came from. That's why all those predictions are now in tatters on the ground and burned up and dead, because it was like, it was never about what y'all kept making it about. Y'all kept making it about, well, they need to make more money and it's so much more expensive to make games now. And I kept telling people that is not what this is about. It isn't. It never was about those things. It was always about extending the reach of the PlayStation console. It was a console-centric strategy. We now have definitive proof that I was correct. Why? Not because I'm a genius. I just listened to what they said. It wasn't difficult. That's why the coverage was so frustrating. I was like, all you got to do is listen to them. This is so painfully obvious. It's so pedestrian in second grade that the fact that people got this so wrong, to me, it's embarrassing. It's like it was so clear what they were saying and what they were doing. That's why I always said, if they lean towards parallel development and day and date of Wolverine or whatever on PC, I was like, there'll be evidence. They will restructure the studios. They will hire. They will expand. They will allocate larger budgets for the projects because that's more expensive to do. And we never saw any evidence of that. People are asking about Nixus. Yeah, I think Nixus is just going to do support work. Nixus already has a job right now. They're helping ship Saros with Housemarque. I think Nixus has got a job. I think we already saw the changing of the strategy when we heard that Nixus was helping ship Saros. That doesn't make any sense if they're porting games to PC. Why would they be doing that? In 2023 and 2024, I advocated for Hideaki Nishino to be appointed the CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment PlayStation after Jim Ryan's retirement and after Hiroki Totoki's temporary chairman would end. In my conversations with fellow analysts, executives, and ADR shareholders, these were the reasons I supported him. An understanding of focus of PlayStation console hardware as the primary platform priority, a love for classic games like PS1 and 2 generations, and a fondness for co-op games. A Japanese executive that has been with Sony for years and appreciates the culture and understands of what worked in the past. This is William talking. He stops by every now and again. William Aguilar. All that stuff mattered, I would think, besides it's getting very cloudy trying to sell a PS6 with Magnus and Steam console. I think that was the linchpin, Davis. I think that was the linchpin. It was like, listen, we're not getting as strong a results anymore. We're getting diminishing returns on PC, and the living room's about to get crowded. We're about to have a Steam machine, and we're about to have Xbox Magnus in the living room. Living room's getting crowded. We're out. We don't want to be in there with this. No thanks. They just canceled everything? Yeah, Yote and Saros not coming. Yeah, Bloomberg just reported on it. Magnus will be niche. It's not about it being niche or it being super popular. It's not. It's about your marketing being crystal clear. It's like, no, there is no way to play these games in the living room anywhere else but PlayStation. It makes the marketing funnel so pure. It's not like, oh, but you can play Wolverine in the living room now. You can play this in the living room now. Think about it from this perspective. Let's just think about it from this perspective. By the time Wolverine was going to land on PC under the old strategy, okay? By the time that happened, let's just say it happens in 2028. Let's get on another timeline and just imagine there's a time, where Wolverine lands on Steam in 2028. Guess what happens at that time? There's more Steam machines in circulation and more Xbox Magnuses in circulation. There could be Xbox PC hybrids made by other manufacturers, okay? And all those are in circulation. So now you have a decent size of the population that can get a PlayStation game in the living room on hardware that's not PlayStation. PlayStation doesn't like that. Even if the Magnus is niche, even if the Steam machine only sells like 5 million units, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You've got a subset of the consumer base that can play Wolverine in the living room on what looks like and functions like a console. And PlayStation's like, heck no, we tried this experiment. It worked for a little bit. It started to see diminishing returns. And in a couple of years, the Magnus and the Steam machine will be in circulation and will saturate the market to some degree. Not a large degree, but it'll be there. And they don't want that. I told you guys, I said, if PlayStation... If Xbox does a PC hybrid, I said PlayStation's going to feel a certain kind of way about that. I don't think they're going to want their games running on something that's called an Xbox in the living room. I don't think they're going to want that. I just don't think so. It muddies up the marketing. It's not about the size of the Magnus in the market or the size of the Steam machine in the market. It's about how pure the marketing becomes when you're like, only on PlayStation. Oh, yeah, those other boxes in the living room? Yeah, those are all well and good. Those are fine. They have their own value offering. Yeah, you can't play Wolverine, can't play Saros, can't play Yote, can't play Intergalactic, can't play future God of War, can't play future Uncharted. To be honest, I'm glad the Band-Aid is ripped off. I don't have to wonder whether what games come to PC anymore. Yeah, yikes, rip to that game preservation. I'm not sure what you're talking about. It didn't help Xbox at all, and Microsoft still has a different goal. Yeah, the people that said, oh, they saw Xbox do it, and it went bad for them, so that's why they're stopping. I don't think that's playing as big of a role here, because Xbox had a very different approach and had very, very different goals. You know? I don't think that PlayStation looked at Xbox and thought, oh, we better stop. Look what happened to them. The PlayStation 6 is rumored to even play all the PlayStation games, even the PS1 games. Yeah, there are a lot of complaints about the puzzles in Crimson Desert. It's true. We're still waiting on console footage. I've not got an answer from Will Powers. I asked him on Twitter when Digital Foundry would be able to publish that, and we still don't have an answer. How long till Xbox shuts down Game Pass? Their PC storefront will not be able to beat Steam. I don't know. To be fair, Sony games on PC aren't selling massive amounts of units anyway. They were when they first did it. Yeah, Spider-Man 2 didn't even crack 1 million. Yeah, the sequels all saw diminished results, Mandela. I think the novelty wore off. It was like, oh, well, we're just going to sit around and wait for, the second run, basically. The console wars will return again. They shouldn't have started this topic again. PC players already hate Sony for Bloodborne. What do you mean they shouldn't have started this conversation again? I don't know what you're talking about. Where is the worry and concern? I don't think there's a console war again. Yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. I don't hate Sony, don't speak for me, says Wheezy. I just don't care. Yeah, I think there are plenty of PC guys that don't feel any strong sense of anything about Sony. There are definitely a bunch that do feel pretty strongly about Sony, but not all of them. My only issue with my PS5 Pro is the games are so expensive compared to Steam. I'm not sure what you mean. Are you comparing games, the same games, or are you just saying overall? In Jeff's defense, Jurassic Park has had a lot of sequels. It's true. It's true. $50.90 with 128 gig of RAM to play a $3 indie. Yeah, I mean, hey. Sony doesn't have much good deals or sales as Steam. Plus, you have to pay for PS Plus. I mean, you don't have to. You don't have to pay for PS Plus. I mean, you do if you want, if you want the online or whatever. The console versus PC melts me. Yeah, I just don't think there's a big console versus PC rivalry. I really don't. I don't think it's a cross-buy purchase comparison that people make. I don't think the average person's like, do I buy a PlayStation for $450, PS5 Pro for $750, or do I buy a PC? Like, I don't think the average consumer is doing that. I think some of us here make that cross-buy purchase comparison, maybe. But I don't think the average consumer is doing that. I don't think that that's how they operate. I don't think that's how they think. I think there are some people that do it, but in general, I don't think it's a large cross purchase decision for people. It's not a rivalry. I just hate being locked into Sony's walled garden. Yeah, I mean, I said it in the show open of the show the other day, Rise. I said, I completely understand why a PC guy would be like, dude, I don't want to buy a console for 2 or 3 games a year. I totally get it. If you main PC, if you got all the lovely things, you can turn on path tracing and Resident Evil, right? Totally get it. I totally understand being like, I am not going to buy a console for 3 games a year, for 2 or 3 games a year. I totally get it. Walled garden, LOL, relax. What do you mean relax? It's a phrase, it's a term. Are you not familiar with the term? A walled garden is a closed, controlled technology ecosystem like the Apple App Store or Facebook, where the provider restricts access to content, apps, or data, ensuring a secure, curated user experience. It's quite literally a phrase that is used in this environment. It's not somebody being hyperbolic. It's an actual term. Like, that's what PlayStation and Nintendo are fostering. It's a walled garden. You might not realize it. I'm literally telling you, that person's not being hyperbolic. That's literally a descriptor. Lanterns in August. Yeah, I saw the trailer. It's a good cast. Perfectly cast, by the way. You couldn't have picked two better guys. I already have the Pro. It's just I want to play it on PC after. I spent like $6,000 on it. I get it. I totally get it. I wanted Saros to go to PC. I did. Because I wanted Housemarque to have another shot to have their Rogue do well on PC, because Rogues are really popular on PC, and Returnal didn't get a fair shake. It got really review bombs day one because of the Epic Online Store pop-up. They use the Epic Online infrastructure for the co-op, and like the Steam boys just got really angry and reactionary, and it had very, very poor momentum day one. And I was like, man, Saros has really improved a lot. It's upgraded quite a bit. It looks really good. It looks incredibly solid and polished. I thought, man, Saros could go to PC and really give Housemarque another shot over there, because I love what they do. So I'm actually bummed about that. I was kind of hoping Saros would be like one of the last hurrah, PlayStation ports, and we were hearing these rumors. I thought, well, maybe it'll go because, Nix's has been helping. Maybe the pipeline will be faster. They'll be able to bring it to PC faster or something. So, yeah, genuinely, I'm bummed about that, because I care more about the studios in the games than I do, like, it has to be exclusive. To me, it's like, no, I liked timed exclusivity with the PlayStation studios, because I felt like we got really good games. You think Sony had a successful launcher, they would stick with PC? No. I don't think it was the launcher, because I don't think it was about the money. It's about the optics. I think the living room's about to get crowded, and I said this earlier, I don't know if you were here, but Wolverine, in the old plan, Wolverine would have been landing on PC in like 2028. Well, by the time 2028 rolls around, guess what they're doing? They're going to be trotting out their marketing for a PS6. They're going to be doing updates and enhancements to games like Wolverine on the PS6. And then you'd have a bunch of Steam machines and a bunch of Magnuses in the market being able to play Wolverine. I just think that corrupts the marketing. They're like, why would we want to be doing that? Don't be surprised why the developers of Crimson Desert and Stellar Blade 2 refuse to cooperate with Sony. Both games will be released on all platforms. You have to elaborate on what you're trying to intimate. What are you trying to intimate about PlayStation? That, like, are you saying they're like hard to work with or something? Okay, listen. Say what y'all want about Jeff Keighley. He says, in 48 hours, I'll be accepting your apologies. And somebody said, I'm sorry, Jeff. Poorly aged things, right? 1 million followers. Oh my gosh. I mean, come on. The man's got a sense of humor, dude. You know? oh man. Say what you want. Jeff Keighley has a sense of humor. Oh. Keep the Jurassic Park memes coming. He remembered how it ended. He couldn't have picked, in the grand scheme of things, he could not have picked a better animated GIF. It was honestly an accidental 900 IQ play. It was total accident. But he picked I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. He quite literally picked the single best, most perfect animated GIF to post. I mean, it's just paying dividends of humor right now. Welcome to Highguard. Jiminy Christmas. Oh. It really humanized him to me. He loved a mid-game. We've all been there. Yeah, I've not seen a whole lot of investigation going into, like, how much did, Tencent play a role in the positioning in the Game Awards. I still haven't come to a conclusion about that. I don't like it made me a little like, please tell me something weird didn't happen here. He did more damage than good. Do you think he feels any kind of guilt? No, they would have gone that way regardless. They would have gone that way regardless, I don't think that game would have done better. If he hadn't have done what he did. Trying to lay the state of that game at his feet, I think is just, I just think is kind of ridiculous. So many of you are excited for Marathon. You should know the feeling. Hey, Wheezy. That's funny. Oh, frick. Oh, that's it. I got it. I got my POV. Ow! What the heck was that? Oh. Golly. Old man body? I freaking sat back. All of a sudden I had like a sharp pain on my left side. What in the frick? Man dies in chair? Yeah. 44-year-old white man moved too quick. Jiminy Christmas. Getting old, Unc? Whatever. Don't get old, nephew. I mean, you will. So. All of this awaits you. You know? So, hopefully that brightens up your Wednesday. Cramp up, old man. Yeah, I'm cramping up. You know what I mean? Don't feel bad. If I inhale too hard, I'll throw my back out. Existence is pain. That's what I'm saying. Digital Foundry says their latest episode of Digital Foundry Direct, they had a Q&A, and there was a lot of questions about the PS5 Pro's upgraded PSSR. I'll have to take a look at that. Neo Reaper with a $5 super chat. You see that some Marathon fans want Steam DB shut down. Yeah, I think they should, I don't get all the bedwetting over the looking at the player numbers. I really, really don't. It's a barometer of interest and momentum. I really don't get why they're so upset. Don't go to the Marathon subreddit. It's so bad. This idea that like a game can fail because people are looking and promoting Steam charts or something, like, I just really don't know. The defense force for Marathon has to be the single most unique and infuriating group that I've ever interacted with. I've interacted with a lot of defense force homies, and the Marathon homies are starting to rival the FromSoft guys. Like the FromSoft defense force, y'all are getting outdone by the Marathon defense force. I mean, it's getting weird, y'all. I'm like, y'all need to settle the frick down. Jiminy. The Mind's Eye Defense Force was up there, too. I mean, I think the Mind's Eye Defense Force was literally just Leslie Benzies on a bunch of alts. I don't even know. I don't even know. You know, was it, was it even a real group of people? You know? I said on Cowboy Stream, Marathon is Destiny, Gambit, Trials, and a raid in a standalone game. Yeah, it's interesting. It does really feel like a bunch of content was ripped out of a future Destiny 3 and turned into a standalone game. You know what I mean? The Helldivers Defense Force just threatened to kill a guy and harassed his charity because he wants the devs to acknowledge the game's issues. I think one of the best questions that I've used against Defense Force people over the years is I say, it sounds like you're saying the game is perfect and has no flaws. Do you not want anything to change? You think from this moment forward, this is the pinnacle? It's at its apex. It's the paragon of whatever it's supposed to be. It's its own archetype. Like, it's like they never have a good answer to that, because that would be ridiculous to say. Because, like, no, of course there's things to be... Okay, then shut the frick up and let people voice their criticisms, concerns, or feedback. Steam charts is proof of how good the game is or not. That's all we have is proof. I don't think Steam charts proves how good a game is. You could have a really, really good game with low Steam chart numbers because it doesn't have tons of marketing or something, or maybe it's not as popular or something. I don't know. But I don't think Steam charts indicate quality. Steam charts can indicate the health of a live service game, though. That question goes both ways. What do you mean that question goes both ways? What happened this week? Key complex issues, a difficulty challenge, and the goal was for the devs to experience bugs and the issues like we do. He was then doxxed, threatened, and his charities threatened over a freaking video game. Here's somebody lying to prove a point. Legal access. There are always ways to get access to the internet. What are you guys talking about? When you buy a game, play a game, then have to jump through hoops to continue playing the game. If you don't stand for one thing, you'll fall for anything. The issue did not affect me. What's this homie saying? The game is being sold in countries that don't have access to PSN. What game is still being sold in a place where there's no PSN? What game are you talking about? The criticism and complaints are pointless if coming from a place where it doesn't actually matter if they're addressed. I'm just saying, across the board, in my experience, when a Defense Force person comes in and says, the game is fine, that's not an issue, that's not a problem. I'm like, oh, so the game is fine, it has no flaws, it has no problems, nothing needs to change. I'm not saying people that are being like bad faith haters and people that are not providing good criticism. I'm saying I've run into this before with Helldivers. I've run into this before with any game. Any game. You're like, yeah, we think this thing should be better or get updated or what have you. Luke Stevens talking about Crimson Desert right now. He just started. That's wonderful. Do you have anybody else you'd like to promote in the channel while I'm live streaming? They wanted the dev to do a level 10 difficulty challenge to see if they were able to complete a full run. I think that's completely fair. Do it. Live stream yourself doing it. Be like, hey, okay, you guys are saying this, and this. All right, well, we're going to play it and we're going to see. And you're going to be like, oh, wow, yeah, some of these things aren't working right. Some of these things are kind of busted. I would like to promote Lono. He's streaming right now. Thank you, Snake Eyes. I greatly appreciate that. Guys, really quickly, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't hit the like button yet, very quickly do that for me. See if you can get us to 500 likes. I greatly appreciate it. You should try to get Luke on. You've got similar takes. I've tried to contact him. It's impossible to DM people on Twitter now because there's so many bots. Like, if you don't actually have a connection to somebody, it's impossible. He had some unpleasant things to say about my content once because he was like reacting to something I was saying, which that would be a hysterical rewatch right now. That would be a hysterical rewatch. I said that I felt like Xbox was throwing in the towel on the console fight and that the console war was basically over. He made fun of me for using the word console war because apparently as a grown man you're not supposed to use that term. And then he said that they were investing $70 billion in Activision Blizzard. How would they be giving up the fight? That'd be a really funny clip to watch now in light of everything that's happened with Xbox, in light of how prophetic I was about where things were going and what Xbox is doing. It was another remarkably dismissive and unkind treatment of my content, and I ended up being dead on right. It's interesting how that continues to happen. It's interesting. That trend has been it's been mildly entertaining, to say the least. Let's do it. I don't even remember when it was, brother. It was a long time ago. I had Doc Dark on. I was doing a show with Doc Dark and 30, and that was a lifetime ago. It was genuinely heartbreaking because I had been promoting his content a bunch and telling people that he was great and I liked his stuff. And then he did that and called my content low effort. And it was just like, oh, wow, this is really unkind and unprovoked. Okay. Like, it was really disappointing. It was really disappointing. I was always promoting his stuff, talking about why I liked his videos. He watched me for 30 seconds. And that was that. I was like, all right, cool. All right, boys. The like count didn't move. That means pretty much everybody's already hit the like button, and I thank you for that. Double check that you actually have hit it. We're going to go ahead and head to the Discord now. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm close to a 4-hour stream. That's pretty much what I do. No. Maddie didn't say that, Liquid Shoe. It was Luke Stevens. So that's a no on the collab. I literally reached out and said, "Hey, man, I'd love to have a conversation. You know, you said this, and I didn't think it was I thought it was pretty uncalled for. Thought it was uncalled for, but I'd love to have people like that on and disagree, agree, debate, discuss, whatever. But it's impossible to network on Twitter. It's impossible to network. So, and here's the thing. I still like his content. I still think he has good insight and input. Luke Stevens is like an encyclopedia about developers. Anytime I've seen him in a conversation with people, he's like, oh yeah, they were the team that did this, and so-and-so's on the team, and they like to do this. Like, he's actually really, really good at that level of knowledge. I still tell people, I still pay him compliments. I'm like, I think he knows his stuff. I think he's got like a Rolodex of information in his brain about developers. So just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate that that's what happened, you know? So make sure you guys use the Discord link in the chat, or the Discord command in chat, or the Discord link in the description below. That's a great reason to become a member. If you're not a member to my YouTube channel, consider clicking join. For $5 a month, you get a badge, emotes, and access to the Discord. We are working on a goal on the channel. We are trying to get to 600 paying members. We're currently at 510. So consider hitting the join button and helping me hit that goal. It's how I do this full time. So I appreciate you guys so much. And tomorrow will be a fun day. We're probably going to talk about this PlayStation Bloomberg article, because why the heck wouldn't we? That's a victory lap I feel like taking. And then we'll play some Marathon. It'll be a good day. All right? So join us in the Discord. If not, I tell you what you can do. If you're not going to come to the Discord, then check out my video about why the Bloodborne remake is never going to happen. That video is still going, and you can help it turn around. If you watch it on mobile, hype it up, leave a like, leave a comment. I did a lot of research into why I don't think they're ever going to make it now, and it has more to do with Miyazaki than anything. Okay? All right. We'll see you guys in the Discord. If I don't see you in the Discord, I'll see you tomorrow.